Welcome to Delta Green, Impossible Landscapes, brought to you by Black Project Gaming. Get read in at blackprojectgaming.com. I'm Vince, your host and handler for this campaign. Joining me are Brett as FBI Hostage Rescue Team Operator Ira Breuer, also known as Agent Morgan, Cami as Dr. Jenny Archer, Anthropologist and Delta Green friendly, Doug as FBI Special Agent Mark Hansom, also known as Agent Meshach, and Jack as FBI Special Agent Cassandra Troy, also known as Agent Madison. Impossible Landscapes is a campaign of wonder, horror, and conspiracy, written by Dennis Detwiller for Delta Green, the role-playing game. For more information on Delta Green, please visit delta-green.com. This podcast is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Where are we and what is happening? Okay, so the last session kicked off essentially 20 years after the events at the McAllister building in New York City. You all received a strange invitation in the mail inviting you to a birthday party in Boston at a specific restaurant at a specific date and time. And I believe, I can't remember who it was, but somebody ended up doing some forensic, examination of it. I believe it was either Mark or Cassandra, right?
I think it was me. I don't remember.
No, it was Mark. Cassie didn't have her stuff with her.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Mark found it. You found the handwriting exemplar on the back of the invitation, which ended up having like a strange hidden message, that just seemed, help me. There was help me had little dots and lead, I believe, that somebody picked up on. So already off to a very strange start, but eventually you all made your way to Boston and you reconnected and, for the first time as players saw how far everybody has kind of respectively fallen. You arrive at the restaurant and you eventually meet with an Agent Exeter, also known as Dr. Elias Barbas, who essentially tasks you to look into the disappearance of 6 agents from the Dorchester House mental institution or psychiatric facility, which is essentially operated, or at least fronted by Delta Green. And the man who runs it, Dr. Richard Dallin, is in fact a friendly for the program, or for Delta Green. And this is a facility that is known to treat agents who snap in the field and who require long-term psychiatric care as a result of their service. Dr. Exeter was definitely a weird cat, definitely raised some questions and concerns. I believe somebody noticed burns on his hands, as well as the fact that the napkins that you saw in the restaurant were the same napkins that the diagram for the line in the scribe that you had found 20 years earlier had been written on. So some strange connections there.
Not to interrupt, but did we figure out if those burns on the hand were the same burns of the guy in the night floors?
No. So okay. You couldn't really see too much because he was wearing like kind of a suit jacket with a dress shirt. So it was tough to see past the wrists. Like you just noticed that there was some scarring, but without essentially stripping him from the waist up, you wouldn't really be able to confirm. But it did raise that connection in your mind.
Okay.
He gave you a satellite phone that to use to securely communicate with himself and with the rest of the group. You can use it by dialing *616, and so essentially the big thing was that he showed you a photo, and on the photo was of a mental patient's room, and scrawled on the wall in blood was "Abigail Wright has gone to sea, crossed the waves to rescue me in a ship both tall and fine. She rounds the corner, marking time." So a callback to the missing Abigail Wright, who you never recovered from the McAllister building. So that connection, everything else, just clear that the specter of the McAllister investigation is still haunting you all. He essentially directed you to seize any occult materials that you could come into contact with. The operatives themselves, the ones who went missing, were known to have come into contact with a book that had unnatural properties. He wasn't able to give you any further details as the specifics are restricted by the group. But from there, you all pretty much kind of terminated the meeting, went home or went to your hotel, and did some basic research. You did find some information on the individuals who went missing, the names of which I believe you should have, but if you don't, let me know. But you got some basic details on them, confirmed that they were in fact real people, at least as far as you can tell, and you also did some research on the Dorchester House, but I don't believe anything else significant was found at that point. You did call Dr. Dallin with the intent of setting up a visit for the next day, and I believe that's where you all are going now, is to Dorchester House, unless there was anything you wanted to do in the meantime before that.
I just wanted to comment on how creepy this card is from Dallin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. And the list you're referring to of the people is the one with like T. Howe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, not exactly a vote of confidence there when the director of a psychiatric facility says sometimes things become possible if we want them bad enough. You keep telling your patients that, man.
Don't dream of it, you know?
Also, it's so non-committal. Sometimes things become possible if you want to.
Like I would expect that out of like some like LA yoga teacher, but not like a New York physician, psychiatrist.
It's not even like you can do anything. It's like maybe sometimes it may become happen.
Some things happen for a reason, and sometimes that reason is no reason.
Amazing. So yeah, let me get the music going, and then you all can take a moment, kind of talk, kind of collect your thoughts, and figure out where what it is you want to go from here.
I'm going to take a moment to feed my cat. Hold on, be back.
Go for it. What is the command to skip? Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah,
yep.
Just
cool.
Just pound skip.
Awesome.
Exclamation point.
Yep. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Yep.
Back and ready for drama.
All right. So what do we got now, folks? What do we want to do?
What time of day is it? Did we leave off like morning, evening, night?
I believe it was morning. Yeah, I believe morning is when you all decided you wanted to head over.
Because we had like the coffee meeting at the hotel. Or I guess we're still at the hotel, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I suppose there's no time like the present. Should we announce ourselves, give them a heads up call, or just go in there?
I would think just head up if they have something they're trying to hide. We don't want to give them any notice to do so.
Ira nods his head in agreement.
And let's go.
Yeah.
All right. So you all gather in your... Do you take one car, two cars?
Ira would drive, and whether or not everyone would like to pile into his car or take another car is kind of up to them. But he would prefer to have a vehicle he's driving.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to take two cars just in case.
Yeah. That or we take the train.
The train?
Subway?
Oh, in Boston? Is there a subway in Boston?
Oh, we're in Boston. I thought we were in New York still. Sorry.
Nope. Boston.
Ignore me.
I mean, there is a train in Boston.
There is.
I don't know if it goes to Dorchester, though.
I would prefer to drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
In case we got to make a hasty retreat.
Exactly. When we leave there, we might be leaving the city, so have everything you need with you.
Yeah. I got a rental, so if you want me to drive, I can.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
All right.
So
I grab my car keys and head out the parking lot.
Ira, do you want to... You said you can drive. Do you want to... And Cassandra looks at Jenny with a bit of a knowing glance, bit of a, that glance that girls give each other when they know. But
Had you discovered something last time?
No, but I think we'd established that because during the 20 years we had been connecting more and more. I don't think that I know, but I think that there was the hint of something that I picked up on. Again, I don't remember for sure, and if not, I'll roll that back.
Well, I thought the whole thing with you had been like you'd been pulling back while the rest of us had been getting close.
Yeah, no, that was totally it. But it's I'll take it back then. So.
Oh no, I was just curious. You don't have to. I was just curious.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So, Ira, you and Jenny, I guess, can go together, and Mark and I can take his car.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right. So you all pile into your respective rental cars and begin the drive up to the Dorchester House facility, which is in the Clam Point neighborhood of Boston, right off of Interstate 93. If you all want to take an opportunity to kind of talk or discuss anything during the drive, please feel free.
I just want to say I love the descriptor pile in for two people getting into a vehicle because it makes me think of one person getting in the driver's side door and then the other person getting in the driver's side door and climbing over top of them to get to their seat.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Ira wouldn't mind
Exactly.
that with Jenny. So
That's right.
Well, that's how normal adults get into a vehicle.
That's right.
As we're driving, Mark's gonna say, "Hey, Cassie, another one, huh?"
Yeah, you'd see her kind of staring off, just watching things go by as we're driving. And when you say that, she snaps back into the present for a bit. I'm sorry, what?
I'm just saying. Well, here we are again. How you feeling? You ready for this?
No one's ready for this kind of thing.
Yeah, this one's feels different than a lot of the others. Blood on the wall. Heck, I don't even know. I've been through a lot myself these last few years.
Yep, we all have. And Cassandra goes back to looking out the passenger window, just leaning against it a bit.
So you don't want to talk about it?
If you want to talk about what happened to you, go ahead. I'll listen.
Well, I mean, I've got a psychiatrist, somebody I see. Of course, I can't tell her about this stuff. I just talk about Sharon and all that, but
Do you ever bring us up? The team, not just you and I.
Tangentially, like I don't mention your name or anything, but I don't. Sometimes it just helps to talk.
And for a moment, you see her starting to drift off. You see her attention span starts to drift off, and she looks around a bit panicked. What's today's date?
It's a second.
Yep, there you go. Good man. All right.
No, she's asking.
It is.
Yeah, it's a second.
Yeah, it's the second. September.
When you say that, you see that she gets noticeably agitated, fidgety a bit, anxious, but you see that she tries to compose herself, patting her jeans down and pulling up her hoodie, and she tries to go back to looking nonchalant.
Speaking of dates, well, I guess by now, we heard about Jenny, and I told you about Sharon, my wife. May 2007. How about you?
I'm sorry, what? How about what?
In May of 2007?
You all know what happened. Listen, can we pull over for just a minute?
Yeah, hold on. Shit, this asshole's not gonna let me pull over. Okay, all right. Fine, just go on. And Mark pulls over.
Can I see your phone?
Mark hands it to her.
Thank you. Just wait for me, okay? And you see that she, in this anxious moment, pulls up her backpack and just, very hastily starts to get out of the car. And you would see her start to look for something maybe like just getting far away from the car that she's not within earshot. And she'll look around a bit, just making sure that the coast is clear, so to speak. But she's actually going to go ahead and dial. And Vince, she is going to go ahead and dial for Bradley.
Okay.
It is his birthday.
Okay. Her
son's birthday.
Junior. Got it. Okay. Okay. Yep. And let's see. It is, I believe, was September 2nd of 2015. 2015. So I'm seeing what day of the week it was.
It's a Wednesday?
There we go. Yep, it's a Wednesday. Roll luck.
Okay.
Because he's how old?
He would be, let me just double check, but I think he's 12.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. 31.
All right. Yeah. And he is back west, correct?
Yeah, he lives in California with his father.
So we'll say it's probably what time in the morning do you think it is?
So the reason I'm calling now is because I would assume that with the time difference that he would still be at home before school.
Right. Yep.
So that's the hope.
Got it. Okay. Well, with the 31 out of 50 on that luck roll, the phone rings a couple times, but then a tired voice picks up and says, "Hello?
Hi, Brad. It's Cassandra."
Oh, hey, Mom.
Hi. I'm sorry. I know this is super early. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, and I wish I could be there. I'm just on a job right now, but I love you and I miss you, and I really hope that whatever your dad has planned for you today is great, and I hope that you get to see your friends. And
I love you too, Mom. Do you think we could do something when you get back?
I'll have to talk to your father, but I'm sure I can come to some arrangement with him, some agreement.
Okay.
Just keep this between us for right now.
Okay.
How is he?
Dad?
Yeah.
He's good. Things are good. I just miss you.
You good in school? Everything's good?
Yeah, Mr. Peters in algebra is still a jerk, but, everything else is going good.
And at this point, I'd say, Mark, you can kind of see her anxiously pacing back and forth, almost wanting to get back into the car, as if whatever she's talking about on the phone is just physically uncomfortable at this point. She's almost recoiling from the phone as he's talking. I'm sorry to hear that. Listen, baby, I have to go back to work, but happy birthday. And I'll get you something real nice when I get back, okay?
Okay, thanks for calling, Mom. I'm glad I got to talk to you.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you too.
And she quickly hangs up and rushes back to the car and opens up the door and just tosses his phone back into his lap.
I hope you weren't making any drug deals on that thing. That's not my burner phone.
She looks at you very pointedly.
Oh, shit.
And relaxes a bit, realizing that it was probably a joke, and then just reclines against the window again.
Cassie, you gotta lighten up some, you know? I'm starting to worry about you.
I think we're probably too far behind. We should probably get going. I don't want to lose Jenny and I.
Okay. All right. And Mark steps on it.
Speaking of Ira and Jenny, what's going on in their vehicle?
Nothing that heavy, probably.
No.
I imagine it's 2015 right now, so that's like Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars days. I'm sure Jenny found a radio station that's blaring like the pop hits or something right now.
Nice.
And Ira is quietly putting up with it.
She knows.
Every now and again his fingers will like start to tap on the steering wheel and then he'll stop.
Yeah. When Taylor Swift comes on, probably.
He won't really instigate conversation, not because he feels uncomfortable or whatever, but Ira's just very comfortable being quiet. And I think maybe their relationship has, over the years, kind of developed a comfort with just hanging out.
Yeah, for sure. I think she's the same. I think she brought her coffee with her from the hotel, probably filled up before they left. So drinking her coffee, going over her notes, listening to music, just enjoying the drive.
Yeah, I think Ira will kind of drive with one hand and put one hand like palm up in the center of the vehicle in between the driver's seat and the passenger seat, just as an invitation. But
Aw. I mean, she's probably like busy with her coffee and her notes, but probably once she notices it takes her a minute, she will hold his hand for sure.
I love that for you.
yeah, and you're gonna take it away from us.
I know. I can't wait to see how you kill him, Vince.
Gonna roll a grenade into that relationship.
Literally.
Yeah. And also, Cami, your bike sounds amazing, sounding good. Everybody's sounding good.
You sound great.
Really appreciate it. Yeah,
Sweet.
sounded phenomenal. Okie doke. So you all continue your drive, and eventually the facility does come into view. It's a 3-story, kind of E-shaped building located in the Clam Point neighborhood of Boston. Again, just off the interstate. And from what you can see from the road, it's surrounded by this attractive wrought iron fence. And it looks like it's topped with these kind of inverted hooks to prevent climbing, and equipped with cameras on just about every available corner to monitor approaches from both sides of the fence in case of people trying to break in or, of most concern, break out. The driveway winds up to a gatehouse a few yards from the main building itself, and you notice that there are 2 security guards manning it at this time, uniformed, wearing just very nondescript, basic security style uniforms. One of them, as you pull the first vehicle, who's in the lead? I'm guessing Ira and Jenny at this point. You pull up to the gate shack, and the security guard steps out. Good morning. Can I help you?
Did we have an appointment with this person, correct?
No, I think we're rolling it blind, right?
No. So
they know to expect.
They know
okay.
Yep, they know to expect you. So Dr. Dallin was expecting your call because he is a friendly, and Agent Exeter kind of set this up. And you had also called him the night before to say you would be coming the next day.
Oh.
And do we have credentials with our fake agent names on them? Like Agent Morgan?
No. So you just have your true name credentials. You're not operating under any kind of cover. Again, those names are really more for internal communications.
Cool. Okay, yeah, so Ira will just roll the window down and go. We're here to see a Dr. Dallin. He should be expecting us.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Can I get your names real quick just to confirm?
Ira Breuer.
This
is my colleague, Jenny Archer.
She smiles at him.
And I'm guessing those are your friends back there. Dr. Dallin said to expect 4 of you.
Yes, they should be arriving shortly.
All right. Well, yep. Pull on through. Check in at the main administration building. Should be the entrance, literally right there. You're gonna check in with one of the nurses. Her name is Sorry.
Hey, it's okay. It's a stressful job being a security guard. You don't have to worry about it. Everything's fine. Ira slowly pulls a handgun out of his pocket.
Yeah, right. Everything is fine.
Everything's going great.
Just be sure to check in with Miss Huston. She's one of the orderlies. She's manning the administration desk right now. We'll get you taken care of. But pull on through.
Ira gives him a polite nod of his head and pulls on through.
And Mark and Cassie, as you pull up, you'll see the security guard kind of standing there, and he'll wave you through as well.
Yeah, we just follow through. Don't even roll down the window.
All right. Yeah, so from what you can tell, so again, an E-shaped building, the 3-story center of the building is clearly marked as the administrative facility. Yeah, you pull in, there are parking lots available for staff and visitors. So you pull into a spot, and what do you do next?
What's the vibe of this place? Is it like creepy, or is it kind of like modern and clearly upkept and everything like that?
So it is definitely an older facility. Based on the research, I believe you did do some research on the place before. You do know it was originally built as a boys' school in the early 1900s, and fell into. What's that?
I just went, ooh.
Yeah, it was a boys' school in the 1900s. Yeah, was a gym for a little bit, public recreation center, and then it kind of fell into disrepair before it was opened again in the 1980s as the Dorchester House psychiatric facility. So it is definitely an older facility, but the grounds are well kept. It's not overgrown. It looks like, as old as it may be, it is still well cared for, well maintained.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How many spooky ghosts are there?
Oh, we're about to find out.
Oh, good. I was hoping for none, but
Not yet. Just you wait. So, I guess Mark and Cassie will pull up next to Ira and Jenny, and do y'all just head inside?
Yeah, we head into the administration building.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm assuming we would wait for them as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And being in a facility like this, there must be like signs that instruct visitors go here.
There are indeed. Yep.
Yeah.
Entrances and exits are clearly marked with different signs directing people to different wings and different portions of the building. But yes, you clearly follow the signs for a check-in. And as you step inside, you see one of the orderlies working the desk. Miss Huston, as she was introduced to you by the gate guard, and you should see her in the handouts there. But as you step inside, she says, "Good morning. Can I help you?"
Well, yeah, we're here to see Dr. Dallin.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. The guards did call and let us know you're on your way. Real quick, I'll just need you to surrender any firearms, knives, weapons you may have on you for the time being while you're in the facility. This is a maximum security facility. At least some of the wings are. And we'll be sure to give you a key card to get you entrances into most portions of the facility. But first we'll need you to sign in and surrender those weapons.
Is there an obvious metal detector here?
There is.
Okay. Well, there goes that idea.
I know, right? Damn.
Ira is thankful that he thought to bring a plastic handgun.
Yeah, I brought a ceramic knife. So.
Pair of ceramic nunchucks.
Exactly, yeah. They're made out of clay, so it should be fine. No, so when she says that, when she talks about that, when Cassandra sees the metal detectors, you see her scoff a bit, and she takes off her backpack and starts to just pull out like a couple smaller pocket knives, and takes one off of her ankle and puts it on whatever kind of tray they have.
Yeah, and she'll accept it. And there's a a multi-columned, multi-road sign-in sheet on a clipboard on the desk itself. But she'll take your weapon, take your multiple weapons, your knives, and she puts them in a locker immediately behind her, and in one of the individual lock boxes, secures it, and hands you the key.
Oh, I should have also put my gun in there, so I'll do that too.
Okay. Yeah.
I forgot I had one.
And she accepts that and places it in the locker for you and hands you the key with the number clearly written on the tag. And she'll do that for all of you if you decide to hand over your weapons.
Yeah, Mark pulls out his Glock from his shoulder holster and hands it to her.
Yep. I guess Ira's not feeling particularly threatened at this point in time. He doesn't love the fact that he has to give up his weapons, but I don't really see any way around it. So he'll divest himself of his more than you thought he was carrying on him guns and knives and 2 extendable batons.
Oh yeah, she looks a little surprised for a minute at just the sheer amount of weaponry that Ira begins pulling off of his person, but quickly regains her composure and puts everything away into a lockbox and again hands you the key. And as she does so, as you all are signing in, she picks up a phone and says that the visitors are here. And at which point, shortly thereafter, another individual joins you, and I will show you who that is.
So, yeah, we go. We follow, I guess.
Yeah, so as you all are standing there, a kind of stout, middle-aged, probably mid-40s, maybe early 50s, Hispanic woman steps out from one of the side offices wearing scrubs, walks up and extends a hand to you with a wide smile and says, "Good morning. My name is Esther Samagina. I'm one of the head nurses here. I'm sorry. She's the head nurse, so I'm going to start that over. Is that how you pronounce her name? Yeah. Good morning. I'm Esther Samagina. I'm the head nurse here. I'm going to take you up to see Dr. Dallin now."
Thank you.
Is there anything we can get you? Anybody need any water, anything before we get started?
Really quick before we head out, I am just going to say that from now and moving forward, Jenny is keeping her eyes out for interesting art or like odd architecture with the way like the building is built or anything just that seems just a little out of the ordinary. So
perfect. Yeah.
Going forward.
So far, nothing. It is pretty clear. The interior of the building still looks very much like a grade school, with the tile floors and the tiled ceilings, and everything is very mild colored. And you notice some hallways still actually have the lockers along them. But for the most part, it's still, again, while very old, it is very clear that while modern renovations have yet to take place, it is still very much well cared for and well kept, especially, with the history of psychiatric care, especially inpatient psychiatric care in the United States, that they are looking to avoid any accusations of running a subpar, facility that is not, paying due attention or care to the conditions that the patients are living in.
Gotcha.
In the same vein of things, Ira is keeping a lookout for orderlies or anyone who looks like they could handle themselves in a fight, anybody who looks armed, anything along those lines. And he'll ask her for a cup of coffee if she can spare it.
She says yes. And yeah, she asks you to wait right there, and she runs back into that side office. And you do see a couple orderlies kind of making their way through the hallways, making the rounds, some with clipboards, some with knots, some with clipboards, some not. You do notice they all wear kind of the same pale blue or eggshell blue scrubs with name tags affixed to the front. Of course, you have Gail Huston, the orderly working the front desk, and you see a couple of men wander by at various times. They're not like in peak physical condition, and they're certainly not armed. It doesn't look like weapons are allowed in any of the wings in any of the facilities at this point. But they do look big enough to probably be able to handle some of the more problematic patients.
But they don't move or hold their bodies like people who have had extensive combat training or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely not. No, these are very clear. Roll human.
Oh, can I roll unarmed or something like that?
Yeah, you know what? Since it's germane to that skill, yeah, go ahead and roll unarmed.
Sweet. I sure did click the button.
Make sure it's not asking you for a modifier.
It definitely was.
There you go. But with a 45 out of 90, you fucking beast. It's they definitely do not move or handle themselves like people who have extensive hand-to-hand training. These are very clearly medical professionals first and foremost who, obviously have the weight and size necessary to, exert some physical control over, again, combative patients. But for the most part, these aren't guys who, they're definitely not special operators. They're definitely not military, nothing like that.
Okay, Ira karate chops one in the throat to see how they can take it.
His throat collapses and he dies a gagging, bleeding mess.
And Ira runs out of the building. And that's the last we hear from him ever again.
Beautiful. Roll up a new character. Anyway, here we go. Miss Samagina comes back out with one of those very small, styrofoam cups filled with steaming black coffee. Did you want cream or sugar or anything?
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Anytime. If you need anything else, let me know. But we'll head up. Dr. Dallin's office is located on the 3rd floor. And as she walks you up, she starts kind of giving you a real quick rundown of the facility. Essentially, from what you can tell, she kind of goes over the layout. The center building is where the administration facilities, the cafeteria, the group therapy rooms, and offices are located. The north end of the E is the men's dorm, and the south E is the women's dorm. Each wing sleeps a maximum of 30 patients, split between the 3 floors, and the entire facility has a staff of 29. She does explain that weapons are prohibited on all floors, even items like a penknife or a pair of scissors, simply due to the nature of the patients that they are treating. Drugs are also prohibited on all floors unless they're handled and administered by the staff. Obviously, no drugs from the outside. The 3rd floor is kind of the maximum security portion of the facility. Belts, shoelaces, street clothing, candy and caffeine, cell phones, and unsupervised internet access are prohibited on floor 3. On floor 2, cell phones and internet access are likewise prohibited. But floor 1, the floor you're currently on, is in the men and the women's dorms, is kind of like lower security. That's where patients who show the most, progress, you could say, is or where they're able to stay. It has the smallest staff. The 3rd floor is referred to as the pokey because it is the high security area, and it is the most heavily staffed because it does tend to be the one most prone to trouble. The 2nd floor, as medium security, it's called Club Med among the staff, and the 1st floor is called the Mall, and it has the smallest staff due to the fact that it is the least problematic. But she kind of recounts this to you all, and will answer any questions you may have as she walks you up, if anybody has anything.
Do you have a roster, a list of patients? Is that something that you could provide for us?
Absolutely. I can get that to you after your meeting with Dr. Dallin.
Thank you. And is it organized by floor?
It is. Yes, we can. And even if it wasn't, we can make sure that you'll know exactly who's on what floor at any given time.
Thank you.
Who's the most dangerous patient here?
Well, I'd hate to label any of them dangerous. I mean, these are troubled people. They have been through a lot. They continue to go through a lot. They're troubled and they're getting the treatment that they need. But we have Mr. Wist. He murdered his father, mother, and his sister. We have Mr. Bale. He's an Army veteran. He was in Iraq twice. He has pretty severe PTSD and depression. If anything, he's more of a threat to himself. But probably Mr. Wist.
Does Mr. Wist have a military background?
No. He was 16 when he killed his family, and he's kind of been here ever since.
Understood. Thank you.
And roll, you may actually know something about that. Let me look at your criminology rolls real quick, or your ratings. So 10, 10, 70, 70. All right, maybe Jenny and Ira, maybe not so much, but Mark and Cassie, it definitely rings a bell with you. You do know that Ed Miller Wist was is definitely notorious in the state of California. You find that, or you recall that he did murder his father, mother, and sister with a shotgun in 2010 on his 16th birthday. The story is kind of well known because of the family's obscene wealth and the very public trial that he underwent. The murders were referred to as the poor little rich boy murders. The state of California convicted him, but he successfully pled not guilty by reason of insanity. And the family trust actually is what selected Dorchester House as his new home. And they successfully persuaded the California court system to send him there. Yeah.
Interesting. Did it say what part of California?
I did not.
Okay. I was just curious.
Probably
Like
wouldn't
Cassie would have been
recall.
close. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, honestly, I believe it was Northern California.
Okay. Yeah. Make a note of that mentally.
How long ago was this?
So the murders were in 2010.
2010. Okay, so he'd be 21 now.
Yep.
All right. Ma'am, I hope you don't mind me asking this. I gather that Dr. Dallin founded this facility. How long have you known Dr. Dallin?
I've known him for years. I've worked here since I got out of college, and he's been running the facility ever since.
So you guys go way back.
We do.
Oh, all right. I mean, what sort of person is he? What do you say?
He's a good man. He's sacrificed so much and continues to sacrifice so much to care for these people. He's one of the foremost experts in his field.
What is his approach as director? I just remember there was a quote on his card. It seemed very interesting. It seemed like a very different perspective than most psychiatrists I know.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's something like things are possible if we
want them bad enough.
He's a T.S. Eliot fan. Apparently, it's a quote from one of his poems. It's a little droll if you ask me, but he likes it.
Oh.
But as far as his approach, I mean, he's firm but fair. It's probably the best way I could probably describe it. It's why we are a maximum security facility, and he does not balk at, ensuring people are appropriately segregated in their appropriate units if need be. But talk therapy, supported by medication, but not over medication. He's very careful with dosages and prescriptions, but he's not shy about incorporating modern methods of treatment. And he wouldn't say he uses the facility as any kind of test bed or anything. He's very, very careful about what he incorporates into treatment plans. But I couldn't ask for a better boss.
I want to see if she's lying about anything like that.
Yeah, go for it. Roll human.
7 out of 68.
She is not lying.
Okay.
In the years you've known him, would you say that Dr. Dallin has taken a personal interest in any of the patients here?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, a lot of people in his position might be kind of standoffish and hands off. Are there any patients that he personally has been involved with, especially recently?
I wouldn't say involved with. I mean, he does try to make time to engage in at least one group therapy session every other week, so maybe twice a month. He'll try to sit down with the patients himself and lead a session. And when he needs to do one-on-one sessions, he'll do so. But for the most part, he's not afraid of letting the staff deal with the day-to-day care, but he's certainly not afraid to get his hands dirty, so to speak.
So,
Is there any patient that he spends more time with than the others? Anyone he has invested himself in finding a resolution to their issues more than others?
Not that I can tell, no. I mean, he simply doesn't have the time.
Dope.
yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna ask too, by the way, so thanks.
Oh, sorry if I interrupted you, Doug. Go ahead.
No. Tag team.
Heck yeah. Let me double check some and make sure I data dumped everything appropriately for you. I think you did find out that he is a well-known expert in the field of PTSD, right? I think that was something you found out during your research.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why he's got so many of these agents here, right?
Right.
Because he was able
Exactly.
to kind of deal with them in that regard.
Right. Okay. Eventually you reach the 3rd floor and you notice there are signs leading you to the administrator's office, and eventually Nurse Samagina knocks on the door, opens it. Dr. Dallin, your visitors are here. And she stands aside and shows you, stands aside and holds an arm out and gestures for you to enter.
I'll let Mark and Jenny go in first and say they seem to be pretty successful at being faces.
Yeah, I mean, Jenny walks in and shakes his hand.
So Dr. Dallin is kind of a tall, burly, balding man with gray, short, curly hair. That's essentially all but vanished on the top, with a long beard and mustache. His glasses are a little too big for his face, black and thick, that enlarge his eyes, not to a comical extent, but definitely noticeable. And he's wearing suspenders, slacks, and a short-sleeved button-down shirt with no tie. Sneakers. He does look to be intimidating simply because of his size. He's well over 6 feet 5 inches tall, so he's kind of towers over most of you, except maybe Ira. Definitely not what you were expecting, considering kind of the quiet, mild-tempered man you spoke to yesterday on the phone. But he shakes all of your hands and says, Dr. Dallin, it's good to meet you. I'm glad you were able to make it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Of course, please come in, have a seat. Esther, I'll call you when we're done. If you don't mind, I'd like you to kind of give him the grand tour of the facility when we're finished. Of course, doctor, no problem. See you all shortly. And she shows herself out and closes the door behind her. But looking around, you do notice that Dr. Dallin's office faces east and enjoys this grand sweeping view of the Neponset River. It looks like kind of like a classic English study, wooden floor, beautiful stone fireplace. More than likely, like the dean's office when it was operating as a boys' school. His desk is, especially given his size, is almost comically thin and reedy. It's like a wooden writing desk that seems pretty ill-suited for the job. There are ceiling height shelves on every wall filled with books. And in one corner of the room is a large kind of custom-made glass and velvet display case for a rock collection.
Any interesting art pieces or anything that might stand out?
You notice some landscapes from was it Thomas Edwin Church or Edwin Church? Who's one of the famous ones?
Like Thomas Kincaid? No.
Frederick Edwin Church. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. You notice some very tasteful, very beautiful landscapes by Frederick Edwin Church, an artist, famous landscape artist, but nothing that stands out as being like, there's no Hieronymus Bosch paintings or, who's the guy who did the Scream? Like nothing
Right.
like Bacon, no Francis Bacon paintings, like nothing wild and wacky like that. Just all very tasteful, all very calming.
So you would say that these aren't impossible landscapes then?
They are quite possible, sir. They are quite possible.
Roll credits.
That's right. Amazing. We got to reference the title of the game.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an anticlimactic ending, if I'm going to be honest.
There we go. Yeah.
We found them, the possible landscapes.
Yeah, thanks for playing, folks. Appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed it.
Bye. Yeah, Cassandra, once she's in the office, will is it seating for everybody or? Yeah,
so there are 2 seats. There are 2 chairs in front of the desk, and there's kind of like a small sitting area to the side with like a couch, coffee table, and 2 additional chairs. So he kind of has a seat. He pulls the 2 chairs that are in front of the desk over to that sitting area and seats himself on the couch. And kind of gestures for you all to have a seat wherever you like.
Interesting.
I would like to find a seat where I can see both him and the door.
Same. I want to park myself near Ira
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. One takes one of the offered chairs and one seats on the other side of the couch, and that gives you a good view of both him and the door.
Mark just sits wherever.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, Mark's gonna say, Dr. Dallin, we were told that you were friendly to the organization we represent.
I am well aware of your mandate.
So, I assume we can speak freely here.
Relatively speaking, I mean, we still need to be careful of being overheard, but for the most part, yes.
All right, then what the heck is going on here?
That is a very good question. So, as best as we can tell, those 6 agents disappeared at 8:11 p.m. on the 28th. They just vanished from the rooms. All 6 of them were on the 3rd floor in maximum security. They had been locked in their rooms. They essentially almost always were at this point. They weren't quite belligerent, but they were certainly at risk of doing harm to themselves or others. They were sedated. They were restrained sometime between, based on our records, 6 and 6:34 p.m. We first noticed that the count was off at 8:11 when the orderlies did their nightly rounds, and by 8:22 we found that all 6 were missing.
And I'm just gonna guess here, but y'all checked the cameras, didn't you? And didn't see any sign of them leaving the building.
We did. We checked cameras. We checked the computer log that records any door entries. All the door entries, openings and closings, are logged by key card, and they're all inputted into a database that we can then query to see who's come and gone, when and where. No door entries between when the patients were put to bed and when we opened the doors themselves to look into their disappearance. All the windows are secure. They simply they vanished.
Was anything found in their rooms when you searched?
Just the writing in Mr. Diaz's room here. And he shows you a photograph, a printout of a digital photograph of the writing that matches the photo that Agent Exeter showed you at your briefing, with the wallpapers covered in, with the walls covered in newspaper with the writing in blood.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Sure.
Do any of your patients have a delusion of floors or stories in the building that don't actually exist? Going up above where the normal structure of the building is? Say they visit the 4th floor, there's only 3 floors.
That's oddly specific, but no. The closest I can think of is Mr. Payo. He Pailotte. I don't know how to pronounce it. Pilotti? Fuck. Yeah, something like that.
How do you spell it?
Pailotte.
Pilotti?
Pilotti. We'll go with that. I like it. The only one I can think of is Mr. Paolotti. He's convinced the world isn't real and that he's in hell, and he's quite suicidal.
Is that a different delusion? I know that seems to be a more common one, thinking that you're in hell or that the devil is out to get you. Is there anything unique about his delusion?
Nothing particularly unique, just that he is quite what's the word I'm looking for? He's quite intent on killing himself. We have to be very, very careful with him. He's kept almost under constant sedation to varying degrees. Some days he'll make great progress, others he'll just backpedal almost back to the beginning.
And how long has he been here?
Oh, he's been here for, I think about 12 years now.
Now, Pialotti's not one of the folks who went missing, was it?
No, Mr. Paolotti is still here. We have Mr. Wist, but nothing like you're describing, Mr. Bale, a few others, but nobody that has any sort of delusions related to architecture or buildings or anything like that.
Did any of them have any hobbies or anything that they did in their spare time, such as, I don't know, drawing or writing, anything like that?
Well, they... Not really. We didn't allow them to have any sort of writing implements unless it was under very close supervision. We did allow them to draw and paint with blunt crayons when they were supervised. But they typically did that as a way to pass the time in between therapy sessions. They were very, very heavily sedated most of the time. Most of them were suffering from various maladies, PTSD most significantly. Some were borderline catatonic, that they would just explode at the drop of a hat, due in no small part to their service, which I'm sure you all can identify with.
Were there any triggers within the facility, or was it always just internal?
It seemed to be internal. It was very, very haphazard what would set them off and what wouldn't.
Did they have any therapy sessions?
Oh, they did. We tried. We tried group therapy with other patients. When that didn't work, we tried group therapy with the 6 of them. And when that didn't work, we did one-on-one sessions. And again, varying degrees of success, unfortunately.
Do you have any records of the dialogue of the sessions themselves?
We do. I've maintained notes in their patient files.
Would you mind if we saw them?
Of course. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Would we be able to take a look at their rooms as well at some point?
Yes. Yeah, you'll have free reign of most of the facility. The only things you won't be able to open are the secure rooms themselves, but you will have access to all the common areas. In fact, here, let me get you your cards. And he reaches into his desk and he pulls out 6 kind of blue plastic key cards with your first initial and last names written on the front in kind of black Sharpie, and he hands one to each of you.
Sweet, thank you.
So, were these 6 people referred to you by the organization? Is that how they came to be here?
Oh, yes. Yeah, they were brought here individually at varying points in time.
Just so we have a heads up, how many other folks in this facility came here through the organization?
Oh, that are currently here?
Yeah.
Probably a dozen.
How many have left? Besides the 6 of these patients?
Oh, well, we've successfully traded and released dozens at this point. Easily. We've been in operation since the 80s, so quite a few.
In your experience with these other patients of this kind, is there anything that's different about their stories or their behavior? Anything that stands out as being in contrast to what you're usually dealing with, aside from the disappearance?
Well, quite. As you can understand, the source of their psychosis and their suffering is not quite like others, if you know what I mean.
Can I insight check him really quick?
Yeah, please.
I'm looking for, because in my head, and maybe Jenny's as well, this is like, for some psychiatrists, like their dream come true to have patients who have endured this kind of thing and they get to study them. So I want to see if there's anything more than, like, he seems like a nice guy who just wants to help, but I want to see if there's maybe something, whether it's sinister or there's just maybe a little bit of excitement to being able to work with these people, if there's that kind of undertone.
Got it. Yeah, go for it.
58 out of 75.
Beautiful. He definitely seems more inclined to simply wanting to help get these people treated, but there is like that underlying sense of excitement that these are people who have seen something that no one else has or will, and certainly him. And so there's kind of that sense of vicarious experience through his treatment of these people. But it also seems tempered by the realization that the less he knows, the better.
Okay.
Which is in and of itself a barrier to treatment. So he definitely, there's degrees of excitement and also maybe a degree of desperation as well as simply wanting to help people, but understanding that, again, the source of what's troubling these people is so far outside the realm of his experience and his knowledge and expertise that there's only so much he can do.
Gotcha. Okay. Noted.
Well, if that's it, perhaps.
She'll give you the grand tour.
Thank you.
At that point, he keys and he picks up a phone and dials a quick extension. Esther, yeah, we're ready for you. And a few moments later, she enters. Well, I guess I'll give you the grand tour now.
That would be great. Thank you.
Please.
Where would you like to start?
Are we still on
Are
the
there
first
rooms?
floor?
You're on the third floor. And
Or the
other
third floor now.
Let's
That's
start
it.
from the top and go work our way down.
Perfect.
Okay. So, Esther leads you down the hallway into the northern portion of the building, where she begins to kind of just show you the general layout, common areas, and then the rooms themselves. You do notice that there is someone, probably young man in his early 20s, in one of the common areas, scribbling in a notebook.
Can I get a look at what he's scribbling as we pass by?
You'd have to get pretty close.
Gotcha. Okay. Never mind then.
I'll get close.
Okay. As you do, Nurse Samagina says, I wouldn't do that. He's very protective of that notebook.
It's fine. It's better to ask for forgiveness sometimes. And Cassandra will continue to approach him as carefully and maybe even as stealthily as she can to try and see and get a look at what he's drawing.
You trying to be stealthy?
Just a little bit.
All right, Gordon, roll stealth.
Ooh, I'm super good at that.
Can I make a sort of a blanket statement that whenever one of the people breaks off from the crowd to approach someone, Ira is going to put himself in a position in which he could intervene quickly if necessary?
Absolutely.
Just as his sort of default. If more than one person breaks off, he'll stay with Jenny as a default. But yeah. Ooh, good job.
That's a 2 out of 15, baby.
Hell yeah, it is.
With a 2 out of 15, as soon as you get close, he snatches that book back into his chest and looks up at you.
Even on a 2?
Even on 2.
Did I at least get a chance to see what it was?
Nope.
I'm sorry. I was just curious what you were drawing.
I'm not drawing anything.
Are you writing?
Yeah, it's a notebook.
I gathered. Can I ask what you're writing about?
You can.
What are you writing about?
None of your fucking business.
Watch your tone.
Fuck you, buddy.
Cassandra puts her hand up towards Ira. Just says, "It's okay. It's okay."
He shrugs.
How
But
long
he
have
is
you-
like dead fish eyeing the guy.
He extends you a middle finger in greeting.
How long have you been here?
At this point, Nurse Samagina says, I think we need to move along. He's getting agitated.
Oh, I'm sorry. And she'll get up off. She'll stand up, getting away from him, and walk with the others. But she'll look back at him a bit just to gauge and see if he's really getting agitated or if it's just like Esther trying to keep the peace.
What's your alertness?
It is 50.
As you step away, you hear the quiet sound of a piece of paper ripping, and he holds something out to you.
Yeah, I'll quickly just snatch it, and I won't look at it, but I'll crumple it up a bit and stuff it in my pocket.
You heard the lady. Fuck off now, please. Thank you.
I'm fucking off, and Cassandra will join the others.
As you kind of go through, she does show you an average patient room. These rooms are very sparse, very few personal effects, and they seem to all kind of be equipped with the same, array of items: a blanket, a sheet, a pillow, slippers, clothing, and of course bed restraints. Nothing that really stands out about any of them. You do pass one room, and there is another patient kind of lounged out on the bed reading a book. Kind of looks up, smiles and waves at Esther as you pass by.
I think Jenny smiles at them as they go by as well. I'm assuming the book is in an angle where I can't see what the title is.
You could. It's actually the rise and fall, or the decline and fall of the Roman Empire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he looks to be like a thickly muscled Caucasian man with crew-cut blonde hair that's starting to gray at the temples. He's wearing this thick woolen robe.
Is it like military cut or?
Yep. Well, a roll. What's your military science? Do you have any?
No, I don't.
I would say you maybe would just recognize it as just a very short haircut, but Ira would definitely recognize it as a military crew cut.
Okay.
And I'll show him to you. That's Mr. Bale. And I'll also show you Mr. Wist.
Oh.
Yeah, Mr. Wist is young, tall, but definitely has a skeletal, hunched appearance to him. Almost scarily white teeth and thinning blonde hair combed over bald spots. So definitely prematurely balding, being he's only in his early 20s. And of course, Mr. Bale.
And Mr. Bale was the one that, sorry, Cami. Mr. Bale was the one that she had stated was one of the more dangerous because he'd done several tours. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Ed Wist was cited because, he shotgunned his family to death. And then, Timothy Bale was referenced due to his combat experience.
I think Ira will probably keep a closer... He's going to try and keep an eye on both of them while they're around them, but he'll keep a closer eye on Bale than he would on Wist. He doesn't really consider Wist to be much of a threat. Yeah,
Bale doesn't really get up from his bed. He's kind of just hanging out in his room right now. But yeah, you'll definitely keep an eye if you want to. You can keep an eye on that door, see if he steps out at any given time.
And Bale was the one with the book that we just passed by?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I thought that was Wist.
No, so Bale is the one laying on the bed reading a book, and Wist is in the common area on the couch writing in his, scribbling in his notebook.
Wist was the one I took the piece of paper from, right?
Yes.
Got it. All right, cool. Just making sure.
Nurse Samagina, we've been sent here to look into the disappearance of several patients. I assume you're familiar with this matter.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Could we see their rooms specifically while we're here? Were they all on the third floor?
They were. I can take you there now if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Of course. Here, it's right this way. And she takes you down to another hallway, where this men's dormitory seems to continue. And she takes you to the men's rooms first, since you're already in that dormitory. So let me get that information for you, provided I can find it.
I don't know what track this is, but I like it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know which one it is either. So yeah, there's 4 men and 2 women, so you're able to see the majority of the rooms here in the men's ward. But from what you can see and what she shows you, the rooms themselves are entirely unremarkable. They are exactly the same as all the others, with the exception, of course, of Mr. Diaz's room, which had the wallpaper of the newspaper wallpaper, and then the writing in blood, which you can see in Mr. Diaz's room.
And that was his blood, right? Or did we ever find that out?
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, I don't believe anybody's looked into that yet.
And we're still with Esther?
Yes, yep, she's with you the whole way.
Esther, you said the note that Mr. Diaz had written was in blood. Was it? I presume it was his blood, correct? Or
well, we did do blood testing. He was AB positive, and the blood itself was AB positive, so we assume it was his.
why would you need to do blood testing? Was there no wound? Was there no cut?
Well, we haven't seen him. He's gone. It wasn't. This was done the night he disappeared.
Oh.
All the newspapers are still up on the wall, you said?
They are. Yep.
And everything.
Yep.
I don't want to like disturb it, but I do want to just like very gently see if there's anything behind the newspaper, maybe just in like one little section, just kind of peel back a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. You start to. It looks like they're just very basically scotch taped to the wall. Obviously, they don't have any. It's not like they leave them with any kind of craft supplies or anything like that. But you kind of pull it back, and it says padded wall behind, from what you can see.
I don't know if this would be forensics, but I'm trying to see if there's any method to the madness in this newspaper, in the collage, or if it's just completely random.
Okay, yeah. Who's got anybody have psychotherapy? I mean, you all have 10. You all have the base rating.
Emily does.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to roll and give it a shot, go for it.
You're talking to me or Brett?
Anybody, since you all have 10 as a baseline.
All right.
If you all want to just give it a shot, whoever, and maybe you'll succeed.
Yeah, I was gonna do it.
Nope.
I got 69.
Hey, nice.
Hey, nice.
Oh no.
Mark gets a critical failure.
A fumble.
We're gonna have to commit
88
him.
Out of 10. Yep, Mark goes over the edge.
Develop a new character.
Yeah, with a 98 out of 10 for Jenny, a 69 out of 10 for Cassie, an 88 out of 10 for Mark, and a 48 out of 10 for Ira. Tough to tell.
Miss Samagina, you knew this man, and you work with a lot of people with, well, problems, I guess. Do you have any idea? I mean, looking at this, is there a message behind the message here?
Not from what we could tell. I mean, that was, of course, something Dr. Dallin considered when we first ran into this. Honestly, it looks like Mr. Diaz just needed a canvas. He squirreled away the newspapers that we would provide. One of the few reading materials we'll give them, because can't really use it as a weapon. We've allowed Mr. Bale to have a book for now because he's been on relatively good behavior recently. But for the others, the newspaper is really all they can expect to read, and no staples, no hard, rigid spines that they can use to attack one of us. So you just squirrel them away, and we found it relatively harmless at this point. And he just taped them to the wall.
I want to take a closer look at what's actually written on the newspapers, like not the blood, but
Articles.
the articles. Is there anything that stands out to me?
Nothing that really jumps out at you. It's kind of a variety. It's obviously taken from different sections of the paper on different days. You've got some local crime stories, some puff pieces, classified ads, and some it's like coupon, readers and pages and junk mail type stuff, just intermittently dispersed between this collage. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. Like there's nothing circled or otherwise annotated. They don't share like a common theme.
So there's no ads for a Hotel Broad album or anything like that?
Nope. Nothing for the Broadal bin. No.
You said that he'd been on recently good behavior, or sorry, that he'd been on relatively good behavior recently. How long is recently?
Are you referring to Mr. Diaz or Mr. Bale?
Mr. Bale, sorry.
No, I would say probably the past 2 months. He's been
What was... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What was the nature of his last incident?
Self-harm. He suffers pretty significantly from survivor's guilt.
Yeah. Has he ever tried to hurt another patient or staff member?
No. Just unfortunately, he is typically the sole target of his anger.
I understand. Thank you.
Ma'am, I understand that you discovered all these folks were missing at about 8:11 p.m.
Correct. That's when we first noticed, and then we finished our count at 8:22 and confirmed that all 6 were missing.
Was that before or after dark?
After.
Huh. All right. So, yeah, maybe they took advantage of the cover of night to slip out of here.
They may have. They would have to be very, very good at what they do, but, camera coverage is pretty extensive on the outside, and honestly, I have no idea how they would have gotten out without those cards you're holding, or without one of us noticing. Yeah.
It's strange that they all disappeared all at once at the same time. Is there any way they could have all gotten together to plan this? I mean, it doesn't seem like they'd have the chance.
That's entirely possible. I would be honestly quite surprised if that was the case, considering the level of sedation and medication they were under. But if there's one thing you learn in this job, is every day is a little different, and you see something new every day.
Yeah, definitely some things become possible if you want them bad enough, don't they?
There you go.
Has this ever happened before?
Never. Not in the entire time I've been here. Unfortunately, the most we've dealt with is either a patient killing another or succeeding in destroying themselves.
We looked into the history of this building, right? And
you did.
It wasn't like, there were other rumors about, people disappearing or something like that.
Not from what you were able to find. I don't know if you looked specifically into that. I think it was just like a general history of the facility, but nothing that jumped out at you. No.
Right. Well, can we see the other rooms?
Absolutely, yeah. Follow me.
As the others start to file out, would it be possible if I can just stay in this room for a little bit without them getting uppity about it?
Sure. Yeah, you do have the key card, so.
All right. So as everyone starts to file out, I'm going to quickly just take out the paper that I took from List, just unfurl it and try to see what he wrote or drew. I guess wrote.
Yeah. Let me show you.
Handouts.
It should be in your handouts now, there, Jack.
Ooh.
It's just a picture of a wiener.
It's dick butt.
Dick butt, yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So detailed.
A lump will form in her throat. She will swallow it back, stuff the paper back into her pocket, and quickly start to try and catch up with the others. But as she does look back at Whist if he's still in the area he was.
He is. And as you walk by, he kind of does a little finger waggle wave at you.
Like
Toodaloo.
Okay. Yeah, she won't say anything, but she does look alarmed when she looks at him and walks past, and she'll join the others.
And so at this point, Nurse Samogenia will take you to the other rooms, the rooms belonging to the two females. that were in the group that disappeared. Same conditions as the others, very, very bare, very basic. Nothing that stands out.
All right, I feel like at some point we should have made a search roll, and we didn't.
I would say.
I mean, that was my intent. I'm sure they searched really well, but
yeah. If you want to roll, go for it. Yeah, because I know, Jenny and Ira with your 20s, and Cassie and Mark with your 70s. It'd probably be Cassie and Mark. Who found anything? So yeah, if you want to roll, go for it.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we were definitely. My intent was to be searching the room for anything, and,
Sure.
and since they're so bare, it'd be hard to figure out to imagine that we would find it. But
yeah, it's worth a shot.
Yeah. That's a 3 out of 72.
3 out of 72. Yeah, you take a moment to kind of just definitely go through everything. You look through every possible place that something could be concealed. You check the seams in between the padding on the walls. You check underneath the mattress itself. You check underneath the sheets. You notice that the sheets probably haven't been laundered in a week or two, at least since they've disappeared. You notice a slight discoloration from sweat on the pillowcase and on the sheet itself, on the fitted sheet over the mattress. But there's nothing under the mattress. There's nothing in the pillowcase. Nothing, underneath the sheets. You check the pockets of the robe. You check the slippers. Nothing.
All right. Yeah. Just wanted to be sure. You did mention it's been a couple of weeks. I definitely got the day wrong on when this happened. What was the day?
I'm sorry. I may have misspoke. It was not a couple of weeks. It was August 28th, and it's September 2nd. So yeah.
Yeah. So okay. All right. So it was August 28th. Which, anybody else think it's weird that we got the invitation the same day?
I mean, I hadn't thought about it, but now that you mention it, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's right, isn't it? We got the invitation on Friday, August 28th, and they escaped on the 28th.
It's almost like something's
How
going
about
on
that?
here.
Am I getting this wrong, Vince? Or
I don't know.
okay,
Probably not important.
Yeah, probably not important. It doesn't matter. I mean, these invitations were like mailed to us, right?
They were.
Okay. I don't think I want to discuss this in front of Nurse Samagina, but we should remember to loop back to this.
Yeah. I'll say that it literally hasn't occurred to Ira at all.
Okay.
It's not quite as investigative as the rest of you.
All right, so we've looked at the rooms. We've been looking for art or just anything unusual, and there's really, I mean, like books that they were reading or newspaper articles. There's just nothing that stands out to us.
Nothing. And Esther will explain that if they are allowed to have a book in their possession, they've got to turn it in by the end of the day, and they're very closely monitored, especially those released to patients on the 3rd floor. So they can, confiscate them if necessary if they're trying to hang on to them.
So when they escaped, were they locked in their rooms or were they in the common areas?
Oh no, they were locked in their rooms. The doors on the 3rd floor are all secured at night.
Yeah. This is gonna sound crazy, but is there a stairway leading to the roof up here?
There is a roof access, yeah.
Would you mind if we go check that out?
Sure, of course. Follow me. And she takes you to one of the stairwells and leads you up to the door that leads to the roof and unlocks it as it is locked from the inside and opens it for you.
Real quick, does Cassandra still look does she look disturbed at all, or anything that we might pick up?
She looked disturbed, but as we go up the stairs, you could see there's a sort of determination, a focus. And when we get up there, she's going to try and walk as far away from Esther as she can without, obviously jumping off the building.
Yeah, easy enough to do. You're able to walk to another end of the roof.
And she'll look back at the others and nod her head a bit. Not super obviously, but at least enough for them to catch on that she wants them to come over there.
Yeah, Mark's gonna come over there.
Yeah, Esther quietly remains by the door, leading back down.
You find something, Cassie?
Yeah, I found this. And turning herself away from Esther, she's going to show the note to Mark.
Ooh, what does it say?
I will show you.
Aha.
Yeah, is Mark the only one going over there?
If Esther doesn't seem to mind, then Jenny will go. But if Esther is kind of watching, what are they up to? Then Jenny will try to engage her in conversation to distract her. But if she's just going to stand there and she's completely fine, she's they just got to go talk for a second, then Jenny will head over.
Yeah, she's fine with it. So I'll show it to you two as well. And there you go.
What about me?
Are you going over?
Yeah, actually, you know what? It would be weird for all four of us to just huddle on the other side of the roof. So I think even though it's not his strong suit, Ira would stay and make very halting, polite conversation.
Okay.
Nice. It's a very nice building.
Well, it's old, but we certainly do our best to keep it in good shape.
It takes a lot of work.
That it does.
He does that thing where he kind of rocks back and forth on his heels and his toes and puts his hands in his pockets. Yep.
Yeah, big gulp, huh?
Exactly.
Jenny, Mark, what do you make of that note?
I don't like it. I don't like it. Just kidding. Jenny probably gives Ira a look, both to just check on him, knowing that that's not his strong suit, but also kind of convey that we found something, just so he's aware that something's happening. But yeah.
Yeah, he'll trust you guys to tell him when it's necessary. Or if you think he needs to see it now, you might have to be a bit more obvious.
And
yeah, that's fine.
Cassandra will actually look back and notice that Ira is being as pleasant as he can, but perhaps knows that he's not the best at making small talk, and will fold the note back up and nod in his direction. And we'll start to make her way back over to Ira and Esther.
Anything else you all would like to see, or I can kind of let you have the run of the place if need be?
Perhaps the second floor?
Of course, absolutely. And she will lead you down to the second floor, where you notice that the rooms are much more personally decorated. They're all kind of almost adolescent in their decor, if it makes sense. There's posters and family photos. There's boom boxes, radios, other music equipment. No personal computers or anything like that. But they are definitely, they seem to speak to longer term, but more privileged stays in the facility, more of an opportunity and more freedom to make them more personal.
Does any of the artwork or any of the books bring anything to mind? Recall anything?
No. So yeah, nothing standing out to you as far as that goes. You do see a couple of patients, wandering by. Nobody really seems to stand out or say much. They kind of nod to you in passing, and they smile at Nurse Samagina. But yeah.
Is there an area downstairs, maybe a cafeteria or something, or maybe a spare office?
Well, there is. We have We have the cafeteria, if you want to go down there.
Just whatever's more convenient for you all, but also allows us some privacy.
Oh, in that case, you may want to hang out in either one of the secure nurses stations or down in the security room.
Security room works.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Follow me. It's actually back up on the third floor, kind of in the center wing. They kind of monitor everything from up there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Come on over, and she'll lead you into the security room. And there is a security guard on duty, but he seems more than willing to kind of let you have like a little corner of the room to discuss and work.
He's out of the room though, right?
No, he is in the room.
Oh, is there something that's like free of other people?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
She'll kind of nod in understanding and says, "Of course, I'm sorry. I can find an administrative office for you."
Thank you.
And she will lead you to a spare office in the administrative wing on the third floor, not just down the hall from Dr. Dallin's office.
Perfect. So when she leaves, the first thing Cassandra does is closes the door, and she's going to start to just do like a quick run around the room, just making sure that there's no cameras, in any kind of obvious places that it might be. Just doing a quick sweep of the room.
Nothing. Yeah, if you're looking for anything clandestinely like placed, it would probably take a search roll.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, go for it. It'll take some time, but yeah, go for it.
Oh God, no, 94.
Yeah, 94 to 71. You're kind of preoccupied at the moment.
Yeah, it makes
kind
sense.
of mind is racing, but from what you can tell, there's nothing over. Like these rooms are definitely set. They're for the administrative staff.
What do we do?
Why? What happened?
Here, and Cassandra will pull out the note and hand it off to Ira.
Should be in everybody's now.
Cassie, do you know that guy?
No, not that I know of. But how did you find me? I thought you had left. In any case, they're still here at night. The rooms are here. The floors are here.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you all so nonchalant about this? Singing moves.
I mean, we kind of knew that vaguely based on things we found before. I mean, what was it in the 20s? There was someone who mysteriously disappeared from a prison who was connected to this, and maybe it was in the McAllister building for a long time, but I don't think it's necessarily just that's been the only entrance, just one of many, maybe.
You can tell that Cassandra looks sick to her stomach, and she just finds a place to sit down and folds her arms together and just sort of places her hands in between her palms, just rubbing her forehead.
Ira's going to show an uncharacteristic amount of empathy and put a hand on her shoulder and go, I found it helps if you don't expect anything to make sense.
Well, expectations met, I guess.
I mean, I guess the question is, are we going to stay here overnight and face this place again, or not?
We've never been able to retrieve anyone from the rooms before.
If it's still here, it could take more people.
That's true.
I don't think it took them.
I don't think it did either. I mean, they were here. They were brought here because they saw something.
I think they went.
I think that those, whether it took or whether they went, is fuzzy. I think it can be both in a way.
And it's also irrelevant.
But how does it... This seems targeted in some way. I mean, the 6 of them arriving within a relatively short span of each other and having similar issues. Did they find it and it's coming for them? Did they seek it out when it came to them?
Probably has to do with that book we're supposed to be looking for.
Do we know what their individual missions were before they were sent here?
You do not. And you know that Delta Green will not give that information to you.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
But there was a book, right, that they were exposed to?
You do know that there was a book that they were exposed to, but anything else is strictly controlled by the organization.
Yeah.
Was it implied or said whether that book was like out in the wild somewhere, or if like Delta Green had it locked down, or if it's missing, if we know where it is?
Agent Exeter was so vague, it seemed almost on purpose to give the bare minimum of information. All you know is that they were exposed to a book, and if you find one, secure it. That's it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Did we ask Dallin if there was a similarity in the delusions of the people that were taken?
You did not.
Fuck.
Yeah. We should be getting their files though soon.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he was going to pull those for you guys.
At any rate, we pull whatever he gives us, and if things that we find in there aren't satisfactory, we press them more. But did they get an invitation like we did?
Who do we think sent those invitations to us?
Exeter?
I mean, you pointed out the timing.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, the same person who gave us that list of names, which is Exeter, sent those invitations, or he's just the middleman.
Who sent us, as you pointed out, sent us the invitations on the day that they disappeared, or not even sent them, ensured that we would all get them on the day that they disappeared, which means he would have had to send them beforehand, which means he would have to know that this happened. Or, stay with me for a minute, reading the note, it sounds like time might be strange here.
Irrelevant.
And even, yeah, and
Might
like,
be irrelevant.
Wist recognized you, and he said he thought that you left, and what if you met him before, but that before hasn't happened yet?
Handler, Vince, can I do anything to recall, like rack my brain into if I've known of him or seen him before outside of maybe like, media coverage of his case?
I would, yeah. Oh, sure. So yeah. Do you want to make a roll or?
Well, I mean, if it's something that I can roll for, I will. But if it's something that I just flat out don't know or haven't experienced yet, I'm fine not doing that.
I would say you're kind of at that point where you are sure you haven't seen this person before outside of that media coverage, but this note and the familiarity with which it's written is causing you to question yourself, especially with, your current sanity, and your current condition. You're certain, but then you're not.
I know I haven't met him, but I could have. I don't know whether or not the recollection is from watching him on TV and seeing him on online and the news. We saw things there, things that don't make sense, things that defy everything that we understand. Blood come out as ribbons, as paper, as
Cassandra.
Faces.
Cassandra, can you take a couple deep breaths for me, please?
I'm fine. We're trying to apply logic to something that defies it. We got these invitations on the same day that they escaped, thinking that this person is just the middleman and that this was all pre-planned, and maybe it wasn't. Maybe it just all happened at the same time. Maybe whatever pulled them in, whatever they summoned, whatever we summoned, called out to us and sent these things as some kind of joke, or worse.
I know this isn't the thing to focus on, but you don't seem fine.
You're right. It's not the thing to focus on.
Still true.
We have to figure out what we do tonight. Does it open again? Does it open on the roof?
How would they get from their rooms to the roof? I think it opened in their rooms.
How did we get invitations all on the same day? How did we get stuck in an apartment complex with endless corridors and doors? We keep trying to think about things in this logical human way, and that, for all we know, the thing just opened the doors for them.
Or made it so the cameras couldn't see them go.
Maybe we could watch the footage ourselves and see if we notice anything odd about it.
Let's get the footage and get those records from Dallin. Let's just go over them before we proceed with anything tonight. But we have to be ready if this thing is taking us tonight. If it takes anyone else at night tonight.
Okay.
And at this point, you just see her staring off, like just not at the floor, but almost through it.
All right, what's the plan?
Oh, that's a good question. So we want to see the videos of that night. We want to get that info from Dallin, and maybe even stay the night to see if we can see if we do actually see the night floors again,
Okay.
or some other phenomena.
Cool.
How we do that, I leave up to the group.
Beautiful.
I mean, I think we just asked Dallin if we can stay here.
I mean, I'm down for it. I don't know if it's something that is like that hospitals would do, but we can certainly ask.
Yeah, but I mean, with the level of security here, I don't see how we stay here without his
No, I
permission.
totally agree. I'm just saying we might need a plan B just in case.
All right. So where do you all want to go first, or do you want to split up?
Kind of split up. We wanted to get the records and
Correct.
also look over the
So,
video.
whichever you want to
footage.
do.
So
You can do that.
maybe
That's
like
definitely an
2
option.
and 2. Looking through the records is probably going to be psychotherapy, which none
Right.
of us do.
Yeah. So you're either going to need somebody to help you make heads or tails of it, or just kind of look through for anything that stands out to you.
Who feels maybe most comfortable going over those records with Dallin?
I mean, I have pretty good humans. So I don't know. Maybe going over with them, having him interpret some stuff, but like keeping an eye on seeing if he might be holding stuff back and stuff, I could probably do.
Is there any reason why we wouldn't go all together?
Just maybe just cover more ground.
I would prefer for us to stay together.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that we could do these things in the same rooms or at least adjacent rooms.
Yeah. It's difficult for me to protect you when I'm not there. And I can't be everywhere at once.
Then we stick together then. We'll go over
Sure.
the records and go over the video.
I mean,
definitely.
I'm used to looking at hours and hours of video. It's one of the things the guys down at the bureau have me do these days.
See kind of a bit of a mournful expression go over Cassandra's face when you say that. Just briefly, but given that you're so insightful, I'd say that you see it.
Do we know that you left your job?
I'd say that it's safe to assume she probably hasn't talked about it, but given her current state and the fact that she doesn't carry around a kit anymore.
Yeah, I think probably Mark would just when he sees that, he kind of looks your way. He goes, "Oh, yeah. Well, guess I shouldn't whine so much."
It's fine. I just... I never thought I'd miss just staring at footage.
Well,
maybe we should just get the footage now and give Dallin time to finish compiling the records.
All right. So you step out, and as soon as the door opens, you see an adjacent office door open, and Nurse Samagina sticks her head out, having heard the door open. She says, "You all ready to keep going on? Need some more time?"
We were actually interested in seeing the security footage from that night.
Oh yeah, of course. Just you know where the security room is. Just you should have access with that key card. So actually, no, I'm sorry. You don't have access to the security room. We still do. I'll escort you.
Thank you.
And she leads you up there and lets you into the security room where that security guard you noticed earlier is still there manning the monitors. He looks up, says, Hey, Esther, what can I do for you? Hey, Michael, these folks just need to look over the security footage from the other night, from the 28th. He nods and says, okay, yeah, I'll pull it up.
all right. Well, I've got an alertness of 70. I'm guessing that's probably what would involve watching videotape.
Yeah, if anything. The issue, though, is that as the security guard whose name tag reads M. Devon starts kind of trying to pull up the footage, he says,
What's the matter?
It's gone.
What do you mean gone?
I don't know. Does anybody here know computers?
I'm aware of them, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it's been corrupted. They didn't automatically back up and update.
Does that happen sometimes, or is that extremely unusual?
Every now and again, it's pretty rare, but not often. We're dealing with, as you can tell, outdated infrastructure here. Sometimes things just crap out.
What do you have right before it cuts out?
Let me see. Let me go through these logs here. Well, I can get you to about June 8th. Looks like everything after that's been corrupted.
I thought Dr. Dallin said that everyone had reviewed the security footage already.
He did. I fucked up.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was going to be like, conspiracy. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I fucked that up. So yeah, actually, let me read it. Okay. Let me make sure I'm disclosing this correctly, because I don't want to do that again and make you think, because you got plenty enough to worry about, right?
I think we can just pile some more on. It's fine.
Yeah,
Security guard is in on it.
Everybody's in on it.
Conspiracy.
Sorry, I apologize.
Good.
Okay, here we go.
We can retcon that in post, right?
Yeah, I'll retcon that for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so Mr. Devon confirms that the footage from the night itself was corrupted, as well as on various dates between May 27th to June 8th. Again, he reiterates that it's kind of not necessarily common, but it happens more often than they would like. But again, very rarely are they dealing with actual escapes of patients to where, it's something that they've needed to worry about. But of course, it figures on this night in particular, the footage has been corrupted. He does allow you to view other video footage that's available if you would like to.
So was everything after June 8th corrupted, or?
So it was periodically between May 27th to June 8th, and then again on various dates through August.
I'd like to just make a note of those dates just for our own record keeping.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we can like maybe just summarize and say like we looked through it and just keeping an eye out for those patients in particular to see if whatever is there we could notice anything. But if there's like literally nothing for them to notice, then we don't have to waste time doing all that.
Sure. Yeah. So he is able to pull up footage from the preceding couple of days before the disappearance itself, and him and Esther point out the missing agents. They kind of go through the list and point out each individual one in the men's ward and the women's ward. They point out Mr. Diaz in his room, kind of plastering up the newspaper. And Mr. Devon actually says he was on duty the night that, when the disappearances occurred. And he pretty much relays the same information as Dr. Dallin, that, 8/11, noticed the first disappearance, confirmed everybody was missing by 8/22. Did not notice anything out of the ordinary.
Do we see anything on the footage of their like behavior or anything odd that sticks out while we're watching?
Nothing that really sticks out to you. Some do appear to be more with it than others. Some are very clearly, in the throes of, psychological stress and trauma. But no, apart from Mr. Diaz, from Cal Diaz, plastering, that one wall with the newspaper, a sheet here on one day, a couple sheets on another, nothing stands out. You do see some interactions with Whist and with Bale, as well as some other patients who you don't recognize.
Whist and Bale with each other?
With the agents.
With the agents, got it.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Is there any way we could talk to Whist and Bale without staff from the hospital around?
I believe so. I mean, we'd prefer not, but Dr. Dallin did say to kind of give you the run of the place. So, we can make sure you've got access to the common room.
Ira here will look after us. I think we'll be fine.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Would you like to do that now?
Yeah, if the records ain't ready yet, that's probably the next thing I'd like to do.
Well, let me check in with Dr. Dallin, see where he's at with those. And she picks up a phone on the security desk and dials an extension. Dr. Dallin, it's Esther. Yeah, the folks here were just wanting to know if those records are ready. They are? Okay, I'll send them down. She hangs up and says they're ready for you whenever you are.
Yeah, I'm ready to head up.
All right.
Unless there's anything else anyone else wants to do.
Nope.
Cool. Yeah, Esther will lead you back down to Dr. Dallin's office, where he hands over six folders with each of the agents' names labeled on the tab. And says, here you go.
Thank you.
Dr. Dallin, none of us here have any psychological experience. I was wondering if you could help us out and kind of run us through these.
Yeah, of course. Staff is, they can probably keep things running while I'm indisposed. So do you want to do that here?
If you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. Come on over, and they'll lead you over to that sitting area and sit down with the folders and kind of sit the pile down to his left and pick up the first one, which is for, let me check here, for Thomas Howe, Thomas Howe, the former FBI special agent, age 39. Unfortunately, the files do not have a whole lot of information on whatever precipitating event caused them to be committed to Dorchester House. There is some basic intake and health-related information. All of them seem to be apart from obviously the trauma they've been through, relatively decent health. Some elevated cholesterol here, some pre-diabetes there, but especially since some of them were at more advanced ages, like 40. I think the oldest is 49. But you kind of go through it. You get a feel for their medical history. You get a feel for their treatment. The longest, I believe, anyone's been there has been a couple of years, but there's no definitive information again on what actually brought them there. So what is it you were kind of looking for?
I guess one question I have, they weren't all admitted within a few weeks of each other.
Correct. They were not. Is that what I said? Did I say that?
No, I think I just assumed that probably.
Okay. If I did say that, I apologize. That was it was definitely various points that they were brought in.
Okay. You say that you have notes from group therapy and private therapy sessions. Can we take a look at that?
Yeah, sure. If you flip to the third tab in each of these folders, that's where the group therapy notes should, or in general, the therapy notes should be. So I apologize for the chicken scratch. I haven't really transcribed any of these digitally, but I mean, they're for you to review. So let me pull up the old. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, do we each want to maybe take a folder and then just go through it, and then if we have questions, we ask the doctor.
Yeah, that works.
Awesome. Let me pull up some example disorders here from the agent's handbook.
Whee!
Yeah.
And just to start us off before we dive too deep into the folders, I'm sorry, I may have missed it, but we still haven't asked him whether or not there was any similarities that stood out to him in between the delusions of this particular group of people.
We have not, I don't think.
Okay. So Ira will ask him that before we start diving into the files. And it's mostly to push back having to read through a medical file as far as possible.
Right, yeah. So you do find that he does say a lot of them, like all of them, were suffering from varying degrees of PTSD. They would have pretty regular acute episodes of that. Some also had intermittent explosive disorder or depression in conjunction. So they were in pretty bad shape. Some had fear of open spaces. Others had claustrophobia, fear of enclosed spaces. Some had amnesia. Some went into fugues. But as far as like a shared delusion, there definitely seemed to be this this fear or feeling of being watched. Some felt they were in some kind of play, and some had an overwhelming fear of books.
Yeah, I get it. Ira holds his hand up for a dab.
Cassandra rolls her eyes. When you say play, when they brought up feeling like they were living in a play, what were some of those episodes like? What did they tell you?
They were convinced that we were all extras in a play, and they were being watched from elsewhere, and they wanted to leave, and they wanted to go off stage. And
did they say anything about a director or writer?
No, not that I can recall. A couple of them mentioned a bottle, but that was pretty intermittent, pretty random.
Bottle. Did it have a label on it?
They never went into detail with a physical description. They said that they needed to find their bottle.
Yeah, Cassandra looks at Jenny and Mark, and then looks back to the doctor and takes a deep, deep breath. And they all shared in this. They all believed that they were actors.
Not all of them. Some were barely coherent, but 2 or 3. Yeah. Ms. Mack, Mr. Prutoth, and Mr. Diaz specifically.
Out of character. Whew. Okay. In character.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm done.
All right.
You freaking out over there?
I'm processing. I'm having a moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mary,
Yeah,
doing this.
I believe the nurse mentioned something about some of the patients get books, but those books are all taken back at the end of the day. Is there a place where those books are put that we could take a look at?
Yeah, we have a library on the first floor. Pretty limited, but
Okay. Just going to make note of that. I'd like to take a look at some of the books that are there at some point.
okay.
Why do you? I know that security is pretty tight on the third floor, but I saw that a couple of the patients do have books. One even seems to have a writing utensil. Is this reward?
It is, yeah. If they've shown themselves to be trustworthy, if they've gone an extended period of time, usually 2 weeks or more without any sort of explosive or violent episode or an instance of self-harm, we'll allow them limited use of sharper instruments, in this case, a charcoal nub or a pencil, or a book. But typically we will retrieve those by the end of the day, at least the writing instruments, and just in case they have an episode in the evening.
Did you ever see any real progress or change in these 6? Did they always just stay the same?
Varying degrees, but if I can speak candidly, the impression that I was left with by our benefactors was that it was unlikely that these 6 would recover and ever see outside these walls again. And so, rather than treat, we aimed to mitigate as best as we could. Think of it like, well, the best way I can put it is mental hospice.
Retirement home of sorts.
Right. And my experiences with them and day-to-day treatment supported that assessment. Even with Mr. West or Mr. Bale or Mr. P, I can get through to them. I can get through to the others, and from time to time, and it's inconsistent, but there's still progress. For them, it was either so minuscule or so haphazard, so irregular that we never really got anywhere.
Would we be able to interview Bale and Wist separately?
I don't see why not. Psychologically, they've been relatively stable past few weeks. I would just ask that if you notice any instances of agitation or aggravation, you immediately notify an orderly and terminate the contact. I'm putting a degree of trust in you, and certainly don't feed into their delusions if you can help it. Just ask your questions, keep it limited if you would to the night in question, and I think that would certainly be doable.
Of course. If you don't mind, and Cassandra looks to the others, just sort of feigning diplomacy, I guess you could say, but also you can tell by the way that she's addressing you that she has already made up her mind. I'd like to interview Wist, if that's fine with the rest of you.
As long as I'm there.
Yes. And then Mark, maybe you can take my cat. Maybe you can interview Bale and see if he has anything to say about that night.
Yeah. I mean, we're all going to be in the room, right? You just want me to take the lead?
One at a time. Please. Wist is the most unpredictable, but if Bale decides to do someone harm, he is the most capable.
I would say that the one you have to be the most concerned with is Wist. Mr. Bale has never indicated any desire or intent to harm anyone else. While yes, he is capable, he's never threatened or harmed any of the staff here.
And I don't believe he'll decide to do so, but if he did, he would be capable of it. Wist is Ira shrugs. Not as dangerous as he thinks he is.
Mr. Breuer, was it?
That's correct, yes.
You are incorrect in your assessment. Mr. Wist is by far the most dangerous of the two.
Most likely to attempt violence, yes. Most dangerous? Unlikely.
Is that your professional opinion, Mr. Breuer?
Yes.
Well, I hope he doesn't have an opportunity to prove you wrong.
Ira kind of shrugs. Either way.
Dr. Dallin, before we finish with these medical records, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but imagine a world where those folks you were treating really were being watched, where they had a really good reason to be afraid of books, where they were in a play and somewhere out there there's a bottle with their name on it. In your professional opinion, do you see any kind of pattern to these records? Any kind of something that we're missing here?
No, apart from similarities and the reported delusions. I mean, even their underlying psychological conditions varied to a certain extent. I mean, PTSD in people in the law enforcement and military communities is obviously not uncommon by any stretch of the imagination. But their psychosis manifested in different ways. Again, apart from some claims about bottles and plays, and that's about the extent of it from what I could tell.
All right. Well, I guess we need to talk to the Bain and West.
I'll have Esther take you back up to the third floor, but that key card should get you in and out of the wards as you need. They just won't be able to get you into individual rooms or into the secure areas like the nurses' stations or the security room.
What time of day is it?
At this point, I would say it's probably early and mid-afternoon.
All right. I mean, if it's mid-afternoon, I'm going to look at all the others and say, should I ask him?
Ask me what?
Dr.
Ira
Dallin.
shrugs.
Yeah, I thought you would. Dr. Dallin, I know this is a strange request, but would it be possible for us to stay the night?
The entire night?
Well,
Overnight.
yeah. And would it be possible to stay in Diaz's room?
You're right. That is an odd request. I don't see why not. I mean, the facility is open. I mean, we're operational 24/7. Kind of have a skeleton crew at night, but I can make sure when there's staff turnover that you are taken care of. And you specifically want to stay in Diaz. All of you won't be able to fit in that room.
I don't think we'll be getting much sleep.
If you don't mind my asking, what is it you hope to find?
Well, you know there's something really strange about what's going on here, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Well, it's just possible that...
You see that the video cameras, the footage from that night, it's been corrupted. So if anyone in the staff was involved or anything of that nature, that evidence is lost. If we're at least here, we can observe and watch, see if anything of the sort or anything out of sorts happens.
What was that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We have some experience with these things, Doctor, and sometimes things only happen at night.
Okay, if that's what you would like, then we will certainly facilitate. Agent Exeter made it clear to support you in any way, and as bizarre as the request is, I see no reason that you shouldn't be able to.
I hate to change the subject, but how long have you known Agent Exeter?
Oh, since the 80s. We go back.
Has he always had those burns on his arm?
You know, I really couldn't say. I can't even remember the first time I noticed them, but I definitely didn't have them when we first met. It had to have been maybe the 90s, early 2000s.
Like sometime after 1995.
It might have been before. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's one of those things that I noticed, but we really didn't discuss. He never could. I mean, again, he's more on the operational side of things.
Dr. Dallin, do you trust Agent Exeter?
With my life.
I want to human that.
Go for it. Ooh, critical success.
Critical success.
44 at 84. He absolutely does. He means that.
All right.
Whether or not he has any reason to is an entirely different question. But based on that response, yeah.
Why?
It's his turn to shrug. Shared experiences.
Ira nods.
Well, before it gets too much later, I imagine you'll want to speak with our guests.
Yes.
Mr. Bale first.
Yes, actually, maybe it's better if we cover more ground, if you don't mind. And she looks at the others when she speaks. Maybe it's better given Wist's volatile nature if maybe I just talk to him.
No.
Now, Cassie, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
She taps her pocket where the paper is, but doesn't say anything.
To be clear, when I said that I didn't think he was as dangerous as Bale, I did not say I didn't think he was dangerous. I think he's very dangerous and very likely to attempt some type of violence.
This is a democracy, so whatever you all want to do then. Bale first.
I can't be said to have done my job and allow any one of us to go into a room with any one of them alone. I'm sorry.
No, I understand. Do we want to talk to Bale first then?
Yeah, Bale first.
All right.
He seems an agreeable fella.
I think it unlikely you'll have any issues with him.
Okay. Dr. Dallin looks at you and stands and says, I will have Esther show you over. And once again, Esther will lead you back to the common room in that third floor, maximum security ward. And again, you see Mr. West seated on that couch in the common room, scribbling away in his notebook, eyes darting back and forth, observing orderlies and fellow patients, your arrival. And as you get closer, you notice that it's not an actual pencil he's writing with it. It does appear to be like a blunted piece of charcoal. That, definitely nothing that could be fashioned into a weapon, at least not immediately. And
Ira's got the majority of his focus on Mr. West. Pretty much any time they're around him from this point forward.
Fair enough. But yeah, you step in and Esther leads you to Mr. Bale's room and kind of knocks on the doorway. Timothy, you have visitors. He looks up and says, I guess so. What do they want? Oh, they just want to ask you some questions. Trust me, they're okay. Esther looks at you guys. Esther looks at the group of you and says, "Is there anything else I can help you with? Are you all good?"
Yes.
We'll take it from here, ma'am. That's all right.
Okay. Ring if you need anything. And
We will.
She steps away.
All right. And Mark, I walk into the room, and kind of is he sitting on his bed?
He is set up at this point, and yeah.
I'm gonna motion to the bed and say, "You mind if I take a seat?"
Sure, yeah.
I'll sit next to him, kind of turn towards him on the bed. I say, "I understand your first name's Timothy. You go by Tim or?"
Yeah, Tim.
Tim, we're here looking at we're here trying to figure out what happened. You remember there were a few people on this hall with you who disappeared a few days ago.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, the 6 of them, right?
Yeah. Did you ever talk to those folks? Do you know anything about them?
Yeah, we talked a lot.
Yeah, I imagine you probably had a lot in common with some of them. I mean, you being in the military and all.
Yeah, something like that.
What do you mean something like that? What else did you have in common with them?
I mean, I'm sure they didn't let everybody in their fucking troop transport die like I did.
Oh, well, you can take a break from that for a second. We're not here to talk about that. I want to talk about those people.
Okay.
You notice anything strange? I mean, they've been here for a while, and then they just up and disappear. You notice anything strange going on this summer since like May or June?
Well, they were out of their minds. I mean, that's really the most obvious thing. They were fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean different than what they were before May or June.
No, they were always crazy.
Did they seem like they were making plans together?
No, they really didn't talk to each other much.
But you talked to some of them, yes?
Yeah.
What did they talk to you about?
I mean, the weather, the pills they make us take. If I saw the people in the robes and the masks at night.
Look now.
The people with robes and masks?
Yeah, they've been making a racket after dark. It's getting hard to get sleep.
And
wait
a second.
You mean they're here at night?
Well, yeah.
Who are they?
I don't know.
How did they get in?
I don't know. And you keep saying those agents are missing. They're not missing. They're not gone. They didn't disappear.
They went upstairs, right?
No, they don't exist yet.
What?
They'll be back eventually. They don't exist yet.
What are you talking about?
He picks up this red notebook on his nightstand and starts to flip through the pages. Do you know a Stephen P. Curson?
We're asking the questions here.
Do we?
No.
Stephen?
No.
What about a Jason G. Oglesby?
Oglesby? That kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah, Oglesby sounds familiar. Wait, my notes.
How do you spell Oglesby?
Oglesby. And I don't believe you have.
Okay.
What other names do you have?
Here and there.
Who are these people, Tim?
He shrugs. I'm just seeing patterns now. Patterns I didn't really notice before. I'm starting to see. And, this notebook, there's levers that I can push and pull, and I can make people do things.
Things like what?
And really whatever I want.
People here?
Here or outside.
Can you show us?
Not yet.
After dark?
Maybe.
Do you know who Abigail Wright is?
Can't say I do.
I'm gonna human check that.
Go for it.
Yeah, 59.
59. He doesn't seem to.
Have you ever heard of anyone called the Salesman?
No, can't say I have.
What about a play? Have you read anything from it? Did the six of them talk about it to you at all?
Yeah, they mentioned the play. But it's like they couldn't remember it.
Where did you get that notebook?
No, it's mine. They gave it to me.
The staff?
Yeah.
And it came like this? Or are you just able to do these things through writing?
It's all me.
Sorry, do what things? What are the things you're referring to? Just out of character curiosity.
Whatever.
He said that he can make people do things.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he said that. I misunderstood that. I thought the people who were making the racket could do things to make people do things. Never mind.
Oh, no, yeah, you're good.
So you're telling me you just write things down in that book and people do them?
Yeah, sometimes.
Can you show me something you've written?
No. Not yet. Later.
Do you make people do things that are good for them or bad for them?
I mean, I guess it depends on what they really want, what they need, and what needs to happen.
Who decides what needs to happen? You or someone else?
Yeah,
That doesn't answer my question.
I know. I'm sorry.
So we just take the notebook and we're good. Let's just circle this guy, kick the shit out of him, take his notebook, and leave. Problem solved. Bing, bada, boom.
Yeah, totally.
Tim,
Why can't you answer these things? Do you know the answers to these questions that we have, and you're just not supposed to tell us yet?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. It comes and goes.
Have the people with the robes and the masks? Are they silver robes?
Yeah, silver robes, white masks. I figured it was part of my treatment. Like immersion therapy or some shit. I don't know.
Did they say anything or do anything to you or anyone else here? Did they interact?
They're always ringing these fucking gongs or bells or some shit. I don't know. Keeps me up at night.
Has anyone else heard and seen these people?
Those six did.
What about Wist?
I don't know what West sees. I don't like him.
Cassandra looks almost dizzy, and she gets up, staggers upwards, and she's going to leave the room, and she wants to go find Wist.
well, Tim, we better go, but I just wanted to ask you one more thing. Have you ever seen any of us before today?
I don't think I'm supposed to tell you that yet.
All right. I think you just did.
No. the answer is more complicated than you probably expect it to be. It's not as simple as yes or no, you know?
Yeah. Is the question of whether or not you've seen us today, does that even make sense to you?
Not really.
Yeah.
All right, we better follow Cassie.
Yeah, in a moment. What's your assessment of Mr. West?
Oh, he's a prick. He's a dangerous prick. I mean...
Dangerous as in unpredictable or dangerous as in capable?
Both.
All right, thank you.
I served with guys like him, and they got people killed.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
See you tonight.
Ira pauses very briefly at that, but then gives him a very small smile and nods his head. I think Ira's actually reassured that this man will be there this evening. He's probably got the hooks of some eldritch god up in his brain or something, but he's like calm and hasn't tried to hurt anyone. You know?
That's true. Yeah.
Makes him more scary.
Yeah, Mark is going after Cassie.
All right. Yeah, Cassie, why don't you go ahead and just roll me a little bit of a sanity roll, please?
Oh, you know it. You know it. It's my favorite thing to do. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm fucking with all y'all today.
There you are. Yeah. For some reason, I can't find my sheet, though.
I deleted it. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, oh, there it is. Okay, I found it.
Your sheet doesn't exist yet.
Not yet, it doesn't.
Oh, that's going to be
5 out of 34. Yep, you lose 1.
Cool. And yeah, I'm heading straight to wherever Weast is.
All right, West. He is still seated there in that common area. There's an orderly nearby, kind of just keeping tabs on everybody. But yeah, how do you approach him?
Boldly at first, almost blind with paranoia. But as she gets closer, she remembers what she heard about his potential, his dangerous potential, and she'll slow down her pace a bit and kneel in front of him.
Good to see you again.
How many times have we met?
A few.
When?
Before. During. After.
Where?
Here. There.
How do you know this? How are you seen them? The men with the robes and the masks?
The who now?
At this point, unconsciously, Cassandra has got tears just streaming down her cheeks. And when he says that, she snaps out of it. I'm sorry. I assumed that you'd seen others.
Can't say that strikes a bell.
You talked with the 6 who are gone, right?
Oh, yeah.
What did they say?
Well, you know, nobody really pays much attention to us crazy fuckers now, do they?
I am paying attention to you.
Well, you know, just that they shouldn't have read it. They shouldn't have read anything. That's why they're here. They need to go back. They need to find their bottles. Like a couple of fucking babies.
Did they say where they're going to?
No, but I knew.
Where did they go?
Outside. Backstage.
How do I get there? How do we get there?
Fuck if I know. Do you really want to?
I just want to know how.
Why do you want to know?
Because
Oh, you broke up.
I've been in a play too.
Been in one. Been. Okay. Who are you with?
I don't understand.
Behind her, Mark says, FBI.
He makes a note in his notebook. What do I call you?
You can call me Meshach.
Well, that's a fucking made-up name if there ever was one.
It's from the Bible, dude.
Meshach, all right. What about you, Missy? What are you calling yourself now?
I'm just Cassandra.
Cassandra. FBI.
Not anymore.
No?
No.
You can't say that's surprising. What did you do?
Mark puts his hand on Cassie's shoulder.
Oh, don't be a buzzkill. It was just getting good.
Don't let this guy inside your head, Cassie.
Oh, I'm living there rent-free, baby. Besides, you all may need me sooner rather than later. You see this? This is my reputation book.
What's a reputation book?
It's where I keep all the secrets. It's everything I need to know. I've got eyes and agents everywhere. And I just keep tabs on things.
From where she is, probably off to the side, I want to insight or human that.
Go
I
for
want to
it.
see if he's just like trying to be intimidating and fucking with them, or if at least he believes he's telling the
Thank
truth.
you.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think I was just going to assume he's one of those dudes that talks a big game, and he probably snorted a little when the guy was like, I have eyes and ears everywhere.
46 out of 75. Whether or not he's telling the truth, he believes it.
Yeah, so that's what's hard is he believes what he's saying, but who knows if that's true or not. Okay, gotcha.
These agents, they work for you?
Absolutely.
Where'd you meet them?
All over.
Well, it's hard to believe. You've been in here the last 5 years. Did you talk to them before you came here?
Oh, yeah.
They ever mention, now, what was that name again? Per something.
Person?
You heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what is he to you?
Bale's written about him in his book.
Yeah.
Does the name Mark Rourke mean anything to you?
Oh, I know Mark.
How do you know him?
We've talked.
Where have you talked?
I haven't been anywhere but here.
He's come to you?
He's here at night sometimes.
What does he look like when he comes to you?
Big dude. Shitty toupee. Kind of a fucking loudmouth.
Cassandra shudders.
Sounds like our friend.
How often do they come at night? Is it every night? Every week?
Pretty consistent.
If we stayed tonight, do you think that we'd be able to see them?
You're going to see more than you probably want to. But that's probably where you're supposed to be. Everyone's got to take their places, right? Recite their lines.
Are you in a play?
Me? No. No. I work with Bale. And we all have our roles to play.
Thank you. And Cassandra, sorry, words. Cassandra puts her hands on her knees, and kind of like raises up off the ground, and staggers towards the back of the party.
All right. Well, before it gets dark, why don't we check out the library?
Yeah. I want to see if there's anything there. I kind of doubt it would just be hanging out, but who knows?
At this point, you do see kind of this tall, thin man with shaggy hair and these close-set eyes kind of round the corner. And he strolls right up to you. Oh, hey, hi, guys. Hi. I'm John. Did you guys want to talk to me?
Sure.
Who?
Pilati.
Is that one of the missing guys?
No.
No.
This is the guy-
Pilati? Like,
Pilati, the guy who thinks he's in hell.
okay.
And you can see there are definitely recently healed scars on his wrists.
Well, seems like you want to talk to us, Mr. Pilati. Pilati, you said?
Yeah.
Like
Either
the
or.
exercises.
Yeah, like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't we go over here and sit?
Okay, yeah, sure.
John, what is it that you think goes on around here?
Oh, that's easy. We're all dead.
Yeah.
And we're definitely in hell.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Is
have to
it
die again, and then I can get the fuck out of here.
Is it just the people we see here? Or are there more of you hiding somewhere in the woodworks?
Oh, there's always more. I mean, there's always people coming and going, and
How long has this been going on?
oh shit, as long as I can remember. I can't even remember how long I've fucking been here, but for a while.
John, why do you think dying would set you free?
That's all there is. I mean, what else can I do? This just goes on and on, right? I mean, like, this is hell. Outside is hell. Inside is hell. It's all hell. So, yeah. I mean, doesn't it make sense to you?
If you're already in hell, dying won't do anything.
No, see, that's where you're wrong, right? That's what they want you to think. That's what keeps you stuck, right? But if you do it again, that's how you wake up.
What do you mean again?
Like, you die again. I had to have died. I mean, that's how you get to hell in the first place, right? You die. Like, I die again.
But the dead don't die. They're dead.
Oh, that's what they want you to think, right? That's how we get stuck here. That's how we get stuck. They want you to believe that. They teach you that all your lives. Once you die, you're dead.
Do you have a bottle?
Like booze? They don't let us have that here. Do you have some?
No.
Fuck.
No on me.
John, can you tell us about the people who come at night? What have you seen?
It's always fuzzy. I think it's because of the meds. They really kind of up the dosage before bed, just, I guess, so we sleep better. It was bullshit anyway, but, I mean, some new faces, some old faces. I mean, I've seen, it's hard to tell. I mean, I've only ever talked to one of them, and she said her name was Abby.
Did she give you your last name?
No. She's always with like this old dude, like this really old looking guy, and then this like, I don't know, this doll thing that follows him around. It like plays this like lullaby thing. It's fucking creepy.
Does he look like a salesman?
I mean, maybe. Guy's old. Like, old.
Wasn't the caretaker guy super old? Am I remembering that right?
He was, yes.
And I believe Jenny would remember this little clockwork creepy thing with the lullaby.
Yes, she does.
How about that sand roll, yeah?
Go for it.
She's just hanging out. Who, me?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, just being near a conversation in this game is deadly. Okay. Success.
Yeah, 58 to 64. You lose one.
I can't afford to succeed these rolls.
They always come by like around midnight.
Do you think that they're in hell too?
Yeah, we all are.
Where do they go then during the day?
I don't know if I want to know, right? Like, it's one of those things, like, I'd rather not know. I just need to wake up.
Have you seen the devil?
Not yet.
How will you know if and when he appears?
I guess I won't. That's scary, isn't it? Oh, shit. How will I know? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
I mean, it seems like someone like the devil himself, if he were around.
Is he here? Do you think he's here?
No,
oh, fuck,
I
he's
think.
here. Oh, shit.
Mark's going
She
to
gives
the
Cassandra
orderly.
a look like, oh my god.
Ira gets ready.
I'm gonna go get one of the nurses,
Yeah.
one of the orderlies. Yeah.
And soon enough, like, he quickly he quickly devolves into this frantic, emotionally compromised state, and one of the orderlies shoots you a look, and essentially forcibly injects him with a sedative and escorts him back to his room.
Yeah, Cassandra recoils, realizing the weight of her comments, and almost snaps back to reality, having been entranced by his words. But yeah, she backs away with the others.
Let's just go to the library before we ruin anyone else's day. Maybe.
Yeah. Folks, I gotta just interject here. We are not here to psychoanalyze these people. Right?
I mean, I think we should even be careful about the questions we're asking. I know that they might have answers for us, but at the end of the day, we don't know if anything that they say has any weight.
I agree.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I would assume that we're walking away. Whist can't hear us anymore.
Oh yeah, he hasn't moved from his from his spot on the couch.
So when we get far enough away that I don't think he can hear us anymore, I would say, I thought that Whist fellow was full of shit until he knew the name Person.
And then he described Mark Rourke.
Yeah.
Still think he's a little full of shit.
Yep.
I mean, maybe he is, but he believes what he says.
He's seen what we've seen.
Well, let's check out the library before it gets dark.
Yeah, just gonna go to the library and fairly quickly, but still taking enough time to pay attention to what's in front of me, just kind of going through the books and seeing if anything stands out as being, whether it's like the evil book or if it's just something that's maybe a book about like art or playwriting or architecture or any of those themes that we've kind of seen pop up regularly.
Yeah, Mark's gonna at the library. He's gonna similarly go through the books, but specifically, I'm looking for writing in the books or secret. Possibly something hidden in the books. I don't know, a piece of paper that's folded in there, anything like that. Just kind of like flipping through the books to see any sign that any of the inmates have modified these books in a way that might have meaning.
Okay, so are you going to go through all of them?
I'm gonna try. How many books is it?
Oh, it's gonna take some time. So this quote unquote library is essentially like a repurposed supply closet with kind of offhand bookshelves scattered throughout, just loaded down with obviously donated books, some clearly from libraries, some probably from Goodwill or Salvation Army donations and the like. They tend to they're actually all nonfiction from what you can tell. Obviously, there's probably some inherent risk with including, fictional books here. with some of the delusions that the staff are dealing with. A lot of history, a lot of mainly history, mainly historical texts. Is some like encyclopedias, some reference materials, stuff like that. So if you want to roll, it's gonna take you a couple hours to go through every book, especially with the granularity you're looking at each page.
Yeah, my intention was to look for ones that had those kind of art-related themes and then flip through those ones, at least to start.
Got it. Okay.
Since that might be closer to something that I imagine would be tied to this.
That's easy. Yeah. So
yeah,
in addition,
I think my intention is to do a quicker, more general search of all the books just to see if there's anything like that.
I would actually like to see it because if this is words, if this is like a library, I assume that there's like a record of what books are checked out by whom.
There is. Yep, correct.
So I'd like to go through that record and see if there's any names pop up or any titles pop up that might be of interest to us.
So nothing written. You would have to get one of the staff to check their computer because it looks like they're digitally logged in and out.
Then I would say I would go do that then.
Okay. So we'll start with, Mark, go ahead and roll search for me, but we'll start with Jenny. Jenny, so in addition to the historical books, where of course somebody like Tim would have found, the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, there's also a bunch of self-help books, stuff on ceramics, on pottery, on art, like painting, writing, pretty much every like creative outlet. And, kind of going through those and focusing your attention on those, you don't find anything that stands out. There are some notes in the, annotated in the margins, some sections that are underlined, but you don't notice a pattern. You don't notice anything that stands out to you as being indicative of what you're looking for. Does that make sense?
Yep, that does. Okay.
Okay. And Mark, with your, let me check. Mark, with your 87 and 72, it takes you a while to kind of go through, and you're just as focused as you want to be, as much as you want to just be in the moment and really kind of focusing on the task at hand. You keep going back to that conversation with Bale and that conversation with Wist, and despite your best efforts, you are slightly unsettled by everything that's transpired here today, and God, this feeling that you just can't shake, that all this McAllister shit is coming back to haunt you 20 years later.
Definitely.
Now for you, Cassie, you go to Esther and she is able to pull those logs for you. And who are you looking for, a specific individual or just in general?
Looking for books that that Wist and Bale checked out, as well as if any of the books were checked out by any of the six. And beyond that, any titles that would relate to, any kind of like maybe art history or anything like that.
Sure. So the six definitely did not check out any books. It did not, based on the log, it looks like they did not have those privileges awarded to them yet. Wist is able to sign out books, but it doesn't look like he has. It doesn't look like much of a reader. Bale, as far as the third floor Patients goes, with the exception of Mr. Pilati, he seems to be the most well-read. He's read some books multiple times, some books only once. He's had the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire checked out for a good little bit now. It is a massive, massive book. So yes. He's clearly been working his way through it. A lot of American history books, a lot of some books on modern conflict, on warfare, that definitely you notice a pattern that they would be checked out and then promptly returned, probably for a variety of reasons. Nothing really specific or germane to art itself. He just definitely seems to be a student of history. Okay.
Anything about like architecture history or New York history or anything like that?
Nothing like that. Most of the stuff are like very, maybe not general, but there's nothing specific to architecture or to New York City.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically nothing in this list catches my eye.
No, nothing that would call back to like McAllister or New York or anything like that.
Okay.
I'll say at this point it is probably 5-6 o'clock.
Can we get a meal here?
There is a cafeteria, right?
There is a cafeteria.
Probably I would find the head nurse and just ask her, can we get a meal here? Would that be all right?
Sure, absolutely. The third floor folks eat on the third floor under strict observation, as you would probably expect. We do have attendants down at the cafeteria to serve the second floor and first floor patients. Do you want to eat with them, or would you like to eat separately? We can kind of get you back in that administrative office if you like.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a knife and a fork.
Yeah,
I would prefer to eat separately if that's all right.
Yeah, same.
Sure. Yeah, we'll have one of the orderlies bring it to you.
Thank you.
Oh, still on the third floor, just...
Well, in the administrative wing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so on not high security, so we can have knives and forks and stuff.
Plastic, that's really all we have, but better than
That'll
nothing.
work. I ain't picky. I don't want to eat with my hands.
No, sure. Let me, we'll go get that taken care of for you. And you know the way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you shortly.
All right, thank you.
So we head to the administrative office?
Yeah. Unless we want to break in somewhere.
So, I know I kind of jumped on the idea of staying here, and if y'all don't want to, we don't have to, but...
No, we've got to.
Well, now that you say that, I kind of don't want to.
It's funny, I as a player always have such a hard time getting into the headspace of someone who wouldn't be like, oh, fuck this. Oh, this is wild. Okay, I'm going home. Like, I'm leaving. So like the motivation when you're like, there's this part of a building or an extra dimensional space or whatever that hops from place to place. And if you go in there, you might not be able to leave. Like for me, I'm like, I just wouldn't go in there. And people are like, oh, there's like crazy stuff that's happening in there. There must be some curiosity. I'm like, no, fuck that. Absolutely not. Just go home and play some video games, you fucking weirdo.
I think for Cassandra, at least, it's like, it feels inevitable. Like, doesn't matter if it's going to be another 20 years. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the best argument is like at this point you would be like, oh, well, I don't have a choice. It's sort of like death. It will just kind of come for you when it comes for you. So there's nothing you can really do to,
Yeah, I personally, as a person, I don't think I could contain my curiosity.
I super could.
I think I would forever regret not knowing what happened after dark.
Interesting.
But, yeah, I don't know. So sometimes I have to like rein in and say, I should have a little bit more survival instinct than this.
Speaking of survival, what's for dinner? Do we have peach cobbler or?
Yeah, so they definitely bring up, one of the orderlies brings up a paper plate loaded with like a gray chicken breast, some green beans, some mashed potatoes, and of course some Jell-O.
Thank you. And Cassandra will just stare at her tray for a little bit.
After the orderly leaves, Ira's going to push the food around his plate a little bit and be like, so now that we're alone, we need to have a talk, Cassandra.
You see that Cassandra's hands are in her lap. She hasn't even touched her food, but she looks up to you. Sure.
You don't seem well. Are you going to be able to handle this? Honestly?
I think you're asking the wrong question.
What do you think the right question is?
I don't think it's a question anymore. I think no one cares about whether or not we're ready for this. This is inevitable. This is just what's going to happen. And
Oh. I think you misunderstood. I don't think you have the option to get away from this. I don't think any of us do. I'm not asking whether or not you'll leave. I'm asking whether or not you're going to break. I need to know whether or not I can depend on you whenever whatever it is that's going to happen happens. Or whether or not I need to keep an eye on you, too.
You probably should.
Okay. Do you want to talk to us about what happened?
See her starting to stare off, looking in your direction, but through you, beyond you, and no. I think we're here for a reason, and we should stick with that. And the sooner we just deal with it, the sooner it's hopefully done.
I don't think that's going to be the way this works. And I wish that you would talk to us, but I know I can't make you.
Jenny, how's the Jell-O?
She tries it. It's Jell-O.
It's green.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be lime or green apple? I don't know.
I think the flavor is just green. I think they left it intentionally ambiguous.
Yeah.
Ira kind of looks at you guys like, really? You fucking guy? Like, absolutely no backup at all? Come on. This woman's going insane. She's losing her mind.
Listen, the Jell-O's important, Ira.
Hey, I tried earlier, Ira. Jenny will open up when she's ready.
Yeah, Jenny's just been a closed book.
Jenny, Cassie. I tried earlier, Ira. Cassie will open up when she's ready.
Cassie is sitting right across from you.
I know.
So don't talk.
I was
about me
talking
like I'm not
about you.
here. Don't talk
Yeah,
about me
well.
like I'm not here.
Well, until you start talking, darling. We're gonna have to do the talking for you, I guess.
No.
Was there a bathroom around here?
There is a
Jenny
bathroom
kind
in the
of-
hall.
Yeah, she kind of says that, and she kind of gives Cassandra a look.
Yeah, Cassandra just gets up and starts to follow.
Yeah, we'll be right back. I got lady stuff.
Jesus.
Bailing Cassandra out of that conversation.
Gotta
Yeah.
powder our noses.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go to the bathroom with her.
Is that where they go to talk?
Where who goes?
Women?
Ira gives you like a dude,
I mean, don't.
and then just like turns to his plate and starts eating Jell-O.
I
We're gonna
mean,
call Sharon while we're in here.
if you walked in the bathroom and asked me how my day was going, I would probably pee on you.
I don't think you would.
Well, all right. I might regret it later. But anyways, I'm kind of weird talking to people in the bathroom, but apparently that's what they do all the time. Anyway, go on.
Jell-O, huh?
Yeah, once we're in the bathroom, Jenny's just gonna like find an excuse just to like fix her hair or whatever, but she'll kind of look at Cassandra and say,
Oh, Cassandra runs to the furthest stall away from the door and slams
Okay.
it shut.
okay, she'll just hang out, wash her hands, take her time, wait for you.
And while I'm in there, I'm going to reach into my backpack and I'm going to take one of my Wicket pills.
Go for it.
And yeah, after she downs that, some of that delicious Adderall, she takes a moment to calm herself, realizing that she's just involuntarily crying for brief moments and wiping away even more tears. And she even like taps herself on the cheek a bit. Doesn't hit, but just at least gently smacks, just trying to coax herself out of her state. And she pulls some tissue from the roller to make it seem like she's actually in need of tissue, making a very loud sound of it, and then flushes it all down the toilet, and we'll meet back up with Jenny.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't know if I should do an alertness to like see how much of that I might have like heard.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Alertness is not great, so it's possible. Yeah, 82 out of 20.
Oh, sorry, my roll 20 took a big old poopy.
Yeah, I saw the red,
Just like
the red
Cassandra.
banner.
Yep. Yeah, with an 82 out of 20, you kind of you miss it.
But I'm assuming what stall for a reason.
Roll human.
Okay. There we go. Better at that.
Yeah, 67 out of 75. Jack, do you want to try to do a persuade or something for Cassie to try to mask it? Or a competing human?
Yeah, I'll guess I'll just do that. Not because she's actively masking it, but because she did, rush into the bathroom stall.
Okay.
Ooh, 25.
Hey, nice.
And 25 out of 68. Well,
That loses though, right?
it does because Jenny rolled higher with that 67.
Oh, right.
So yeah, Jenny, you something is definitely off. I mean, obviously.
Right, yeah. She kind of takes a second and offers Cassandra like a piece of gum or something. She always has gum. She's a mom. I won't ask if you're okay. I feel like that's kind of a moot question at this point. Just, I get what you were saying. The whole inevitability of it all. Feels like I've been, I don't know. I mean, it happened, 20 years ago? But I feel like I've been running from it for longer than that. And things are catching up to me. And maybe I'm just so used to running, I can ignore it for a little bit longer, but maybe that's not healthy. And maybe I should be joining you in that bathroom stall instead of over here fixing my makeup. But if you ever do want to talk about them, as well-meaning as they are, just, I'm here.
Today is Bradley Jr.'s birthday.
She smiles a little bit. Did you get to talk to him?
I did, and I haven't talked to him in weeks, and I was hoping that he wouldn't answer. I was hoping that it would just not pick up, or even that his father would just pick up and yell at me. But it was him, and the worst part is that he didn't. He was okay. He didn't hate me. He didn't yell at me. He didn't call me a bad mother. He just wanted to talk about how much he missed me and how much his teacher was a jerk. I wish I hadn't spoken with him today. If I hadn't, maybe I could have gone in tonight seeing whatever we're going to see, just knowing that he hated me. And I go in knowing that he does it. And I might not come out of this.
Well, I mean, I understand what you mean with that. But, I mean, from his perspective, he got a phone call from his mom, who he clearly loves, and she loved him enough to remember his birthday and to call. I mean, he doesn't know the details of what we're doing. We're stuck here in this nightmare, but for a brief minute, he just got to talk to his mom this morning. Maybe try to just focus on that.
Cassandra turns on the faucet and runs her hands under it a bit and splashes some water on her face and uses some of the water to slick her hair back. Her bangs that kind of scruff up at this point. We should get back together.
Yeah. Sounds good.
How are you doing with this? You've got a kid too. I mean,
Yeah. Like I said, I've been running from something for a long time, and I think I'm just used to putting blinders on. I'm sure the minute, God willing, this ends and I go back to my home and I look at the pictures of her, I'll fall apart and feel guilty and drink and give her a call in the morning and apologize and give her whatever she wants for her birthday. But for right now, I don't know. I guess I just kind of have blinders on.
oh, sorry I took him off if I did.
No, it's okay. I think it's important. Balance, right?
Jello's probably melted by now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Jello.
Yeah, Cassandra will compose herself and start to head out.
Yep, Jenny will follow.
While this is going on, do Ira and Mark discuss anything?
I think Ira would prefer not to, but Mark talks a lot, so probably.
Yeah, Mark just keeps going on and on about, women and all the weird things they do and how they're different than us, and we just have to accept it. And Ira's probably trying to tune him out.
Ira is deeply uncomfortable. And and kind of like non-committally nods at points, but for the most part it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
But, God made them that way, and what are you going to do? Well, you can't argue with God's creation. It's all just the way it's supposed to be.
Mark, okay. Did you ever have another relationship before your wife?
Before? No. I did date this girl, Becky Sue, for a little bit in high school, but then I met Sharon, and I was like, she's the one for me.
And Ira, seeing an opportunity to get Mark to talk about something else that might make him less uncomfortable, will just go, so how did you meet? And then kind of let him run down that path.
Yeah. And it's a pretty banal story of saw her in gym class one day and thought she was the prettiest one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know how you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach?
I'm familiar with the notion.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was it. I was, as they say, I was smitten.
And so on and so forth.
Yep.
So, at this point, a little while later, Jenny and Cassie rejoin you.
Yes, we do. So, do we all settle in for the night?
Yeah, whatever that looks like.
Sure.
We should let Dallin know. He can set us up with some accommodations, hopefully.
All right.
So, is that the plan? Go talk to Dallin?
I think so, yeah. So we can just prepare him for us staying the night.
Okay, easy enough. You go talk to Dallin, and he'll ask you, do you want to stay in that office? Do you want to stay in Diaz's room? Where were you hoping to set up?
Well, some of us can stay in Diaz's room, and then others can stay in a adjoining room if it's available.
Sure, yeah, that'll be fine.
And can we leave the doors open? I know normally they'd be closed at night.
We will close them, but we'll make sure they're left unlocked.
All right. Yeah, that's all I was caring about. I don't want to be locked in there just
No. And you have the key cards
Okay.
anyway that you should be able to open up from the inside.
But our key cards don't work on
That's right.
On
Thank
the-
you. Scratch
the
that.
rooms.
Yep. Scratch that. Thank you. Good catch. Yeah, we'll make sure they're unlocked.
All right. I know there's not space for all of us to lay down on the bed or nothing, but maybe a few extra pillows would be nice, so my butt doesn't get too sore.
Yeah, we'll rustle up some blankets and pillows for you. And they do. And the orderlies, right before shift change, go ahead and bring you some extra pillows and blankets for each of the rooms. They do seem to be a little off-put by this very strange request, but nevertheless, they execute wordlessly, get you all situated. Who's staying in which room?
I'm going to stay in Diaz's room.
Okay.
Mark will stay in Diaz's room.
Okay.
You will be in the other.
Yep.
But we assume that Ira and Jenny don't want to get it on in a room with covered in blood. And
creepy.
Yeah, I don't think this is definitely not going to be. They're not going to do anything in that room. They're in a crazy situation.
Listen, man, bucket list. All right.
The mood is
Yeah.
set.
Doing it in an insane asylum isn't on your bucket list. I mean, come on.
I can truly and honestly tell you that it's not.
So what's the plan for the next hour or two?
Well, for Cassandra at least, and I don't know what I'd have to roll for this, but because she just took speed, her plan is to stay up as much as she can.
Okay. Yep. That's fine. Won't make you roll anything just yet.
Okay.
What about you, Mark?
Oh yeah, Mark was planning on staying up all night.
Okay.
I mean, he's had to pull some, the details where he's, been staked out all night. So
Sure.
Here's a question, though.
Go for it.
Our weapons are still in the lock boxes downstairs, right?
They are.
Would we be able to get them out, or do we at least have keys to them?
You have keys to them, but you have to go through the orderlies to get them.
Oh, fuck.
I don't think weapons are going to help us.
I mean, well, yeah, but, yeah.
You saw what happened when Ira tried to shoot his gun last time.
So then I'm going to say that, just out of instinct, Cassandra would have pocketed her plastic knife and fork.
Okay. That's cute, but okay.
Yeah. Just in case.
Yeah, I think Ira is kind of the same opinion. Like, weapons aren't going to help them. He's confident in his ability to deal with someone like Wist, but if it turns out that Wist is, the conduit for something else, he's kind of at a point thinking like we just gotta kind of roll with it. Like, going downstairs and getting a gun is not gonna help him.
Got it. So you have time. So whatever y'all want to do.
I would have maybe asked one of the orderlies for a deck of cards, just so Mark and I would have had something to do to pass the time.
Yeah.
We could just play like gin rummy or something.
Easy.
I was gonna try and do the enlisted dude thing of just taking a quick cat nap wherever he can,
Got it. Okay.
knowing that he's gonna have to stay up later.
Yeah, I think Jenny, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe she very optimistically lays down and assumes she might get a couple winks, but she ends up not, just because there's so much going on in her head that she's thinking about right now. So she probably just ends up laying there.
Okay. So Ira's sleeping a little bit. Jenny, and you see her staying up then?
Yeah, probably. I think it's
Okay.
unintentionally. She's not intentionally being like, oh, I gotta stay up, but she just can't fall asleep.
Got it. Okay. So Cassie, roll 1d6. Actually, you took you took Adderall?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll 2d6.
Sweet. 3.
Okay, so that offsets any exhaustion penalty for now for 3 hours.
Okay.
Everybody else who's staying up, except for Ira, roll 1d6 for me, please.
Sorry, I just got back, but I heard you say Ira's name. What do I have to do?
So you're sleeping, so you're good.
Okay, sweet.
We're all dead, though.
Right, yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
Bummer. Okay.
Mark, you
Ira
lose,
hitchhikes his way home.
Mark, you lose 5 whole power points, and Jenny, you lose 4.
Got it.
Oof, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Wait, how much do I lose?
You lose none yet because you took
okay.
you got stoned.
Got it. I'm on smack right now, babe. No,
That's
not on
right.
smack.
And soon the light begins to fade as the sun sets on Dorchester House. The clock reaches 7 and 7:15 and 7:30, and night falls. What do you do?
Do we hear anything or notice anything different?
Is Weist and Vale, are they in the rooms now, or are they still in their spots?
You can't really see very much from the small kind of security glass window set into the door. It is dark on the other side.
All right, so Cassandra's going to get up and she's going to open and just see what she sees outside of the room.
Do you step through?
Yes.
Jenny will do the same.
You do so. And you look down. And you realize you are no longer wearing your clothes.
Oh.
You are wearing jumpsuits. Like patients.
I turn around. Do I see the door?
You do.
From inside, does Mark see this?
You're not wearing your clothes anymore either.
Oh,
You are also in a patient's jumpsuit.
what the heck? Cassie, what? Oh, man.
You notice that the pillows and the sheets that you had been given are old, soiled, disgusting, torn jumpsuits. The rooms themselves disgusting. The walls yellowed and faded and torn.
Since we're in Diaz's room with the newspaper and the bloody message, is that still there?
It is.
Do I see Cassie? No, do I see Jenny?
You do.
Jenny, wake Ira up.
Yeah, I'll go back in and wake him up.
Ira, when you wake, you realize you two are no longer wearing your clothes, and you are also in a patient's jumpsuit.
Huh. This makes a sort of sense.
All right. I gotta admit, I thought I would be a lot cooler than this. I knew it was gonna happen, and I thought I would be cooler than this.
I do need everyone to go ahead and roll sanity for me, please.
There it is.
Ooh.
All right. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been
Cat-
playing him the coolest, but apparently inside he's not taking it.
Yeah,
Damn.
Cassie with a 74 out of 33. Jesus, that's low. Ira with a 77 out of 74. Jenny with a 56 out of 63. And Mark with a 47 out of 58. Mark and Jenny, you lose 1 each. Cassie, roll 1d6 for me. And Brett, you lose 6. Or Ira, you lose 6.
Oh.
4.
You lose 4.
Ooh.
Wait, with 6, isn't there something like temporary insanity?
There is, unless he decides to project.
Project on Jenny.
I'm gonna project onto Cassandra.
Okay.
What do I do?
You are so fun to be around.
We don't want to talk about your feelings.
Total crazy person, but then I was like, oh, that seems kind of mean. She's actually all right. She's. How many points do I lose?
Well, it's actually got to be when you're non-Delta Green bonds.
Oh well, I don't have any of those.
You got your brother. You got your brother, don't you?
No, he's dead.
Oh, that's right.
You killed him.
That's right. Well, I guess you just go. I guess you just go nuts.
Okay, I have an idea for what I would like his thing to be.
Go for it.
What's the one? Is there like one that's like you get completely dead, emotionless, like emotionless and dead, kind of like. I sort of think the idea. I was kind of having this idea before where, like, you know how he was so evasive of the information or anything to do with like weird Delta Green stuff or anything like that. I have this idea now that he's sort of become almost like it's like he believes in its inevitability a lot now. Like he is almost like, there's nothing I could do. It doesn't matter if I die. It doesn't matter if I live. Like I feel completely helpless to affect a change in this situation, and something bigger than me is taking control. So if there's some sort of a mental illness that we could get that would reflect that, I think that would be the most appropriate.
Okay, so yeah, you freeze then and kind of fugue out.
You don't get a full mental illness from temporary insanity.
Yep, not yet.
It's just fight, flight, or freeze.
It's unless you've hit your breaking point.
Right.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so maybe he fugues out a little bit. Like he looks down and goes, this makes a certain sort of sense, and then kind of just seems to deflate.
Right. As you all are standing there, a orderly rounds the corner. And let me find the picture for you so I can show you who you're dealing with.
I hope he's hot.
Let's just make a decision as a group that he is.
Yeah.
Don't hold
Don
your breath.
Bean, maybe? That way he'll also die first and we'll be fine.
You should be able to see him now.
I mean,
in the right lighting, maybe. After a few drinks, maybe.
is he tall?
He is tall.
Okay,
There
well,
you
I'm
go.
tall.
That's all that matters.
He is a huge, just violent-looking man with a nose that was long ago flattened and broken, narrow eyes that squint at you and everything around him. You notice his two front teeth are smashed, missing chunks, and he's carrying a sawn-down baseball bat with a center of lead and a loop on his belt. It's time for group.
Who's he pointing at?
All of you.
I look around. Are we the only patients here?
For now. Let's go.
Jenny hesitates because she sees the state that Ira is in, and she just has like a hand on his shoulder and like I think tries to snap him out of whatever is going on because she doesn't want this dude with the baseball bat to beat him up. Just kind of tries to shake him out of it a little bit.
I don't care if you have to fucking carry him. Let's go.
What happens if we don't?
I beat the ever-loving shit out of you, and I drag your fucking body there.
With someone that's this physically aggressive, can I make a roll or something?
Nope, you fugued out, buddy. You fugued out.
I know, but how long does it take?
You fugued out.
I understand.
Until I say it's over.
Okay. Very aggressive.
I'm just kidding. Roll 1d3 for me. At a minimum, it's going to be an hour.
Ooh.
3 hours.
Okay.
Well, there goes our protection.
I know.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mark, you're swole, aren't you? You work out every day.
Here, let's do this. So it's not as dickish. So since you went temporarily insane and you fugued out, every hour I'll allow you to make another sanity roll, and if you succeed, you can snap out of it. Is that fair?
Sure. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind the whole 3 hours. I think the only thing that was
ridiculously long. So
it is a long time. But I was thinking maybe we could put something in where if this person is physically aggressive to, or like actually hits Ira or hits Jenny, maybe then we would make a roll.
I will say yes. If he does harm to you or Jenny, I think that's fair. I will enable you to make a roll.
Cool.
What about your best friend Mark?
Mark has some weird views about women that Ira doesn't care for.
Weird views. You ever been to North Carolina?
Nor shall I, sir. Nor shall.
All right.
So what are we doing? He has unlooped his makeshift baton and holds it in his right hand.
Mark goes over and grabs Cassie's arm and says, "Look, let's just go."
Jenny tries her best to get Ira's arm around her shoulder and lift him up to try to get him to move. I don't know how possible that will be. She's tiny.
With Mark's help, you should be able to get him up.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark's just like, what happened to? Oh, daggone it!
Come on, help me move him before this guy shit out of us.
Yeah, Ira. Mark grabs the other arm and lifts him up.
This nurse, who has yet to introduce himself, leads you all down the hallway. And then another. And then another. And the layout is not at all what you remember it from from the preceding hours. But eventually you come to a room that you have not been in and have not seen, and otherwise had no idea even existed, or more appropriately, if it even existed. The nurse opens the door, and inside you see a room covered in this horrific pink paint. It is filled with these pea soup green chairs and flickering fluorescent lights. It is nothing short of maddening. Some of these chairs are already filled with others here for group. There's a thin young man with curly red hair and bifocal glasses wearing hospital pajamas beneath a tweed jacket. There is a man, a little man, unkempt, ill-looking, in expensive silk pajamas and slippers, his eyes frantic, lost. He's muttering to himself, a boy, a girl, a girl, a boy. There's Mr. Pilati from earlier. He doesn't seem to recognize you as you walk in. And then another patient, an 80-year-old woman. And finally, at the head, what you can only assume to be a doctor, or at least someone in charge. I will show you a picture. Stand by.
Now, are we talking Pepto pink or like bright neon pink?
Like bright cotton candy pink. You see a strange little man in this pinstriped suit, bald head, a gray spade beard, with these wire glasses. He looks up and smiles. Oh, good evening. I'm glad you were able to join us. Please take your seats. And we'll begin. And that, I think, is a good place to end for the evening. Thank you for listening to Delta Green Impossible Landscapes, part of the Black Project Gaming podcast. If you like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to visit blackprojectgaming.com for previous Delta Green episodes. You can also listen to our ongoing Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Barovia, California campaigns. If you'd like updates on all future releases, please follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Until next time, I'm Vince, your host and handler, with Brett as FBI Hostage Rescue Team Operator Ira Breuer, also known as Agent Morgan, Cami as Dr. Jenny Archer, Anthropologist and Delta Green Friendly, Doug as FBI Special Agent Mark Hansom, also known as Agent Meshach, and Jack as FBI Special Agent Cassandra Troy, also known as Agent Madison. Thank you again, and remember, we'll be seeing you.